Welcome to What's Your Skroove, where we tell stories, share experiences, and get inside the minds of artists, athletes, creators, and musicians. Everybody, welcome to episode 16, the sweet 16 of What's Your Skroove. We have on Vadr, accomplished DJ and producer out of Dallas, Texas. We are currently in his van, Victoria. Welcome, Vadr.
What's up, guys? Good to be on here.
Dude, thanks for coming out
happy.
here.
No worries.
Bringing the mobile recording booth / podcast studio.
Yeah, the new podcast studio.
Love it. Dude,
I think you're the
sweet.
first person we've met that has a van besides ourselves. So
Nice.
it's
Hell yeah.
pretty Cool.
Yeah.
Stoked to be the first. But yeah, welcome to my home. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to my podcast booth. Whatever you want to call it.
It's all encompassing.
It's
all in
everything.
one.
Dude, this is badass, and it puts Fran to shame.
It does.
I will proudly admit that.
Hey,
Yeah,
Fran
this thing
will
is-
be a good little sister.
It is.
Yeah, it
there
is.
you go, there you go. Victoria's
Everyone has
sweet.
their role, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Victoria's the flagship, you know. So
I think we should start off with how we kind of met. We met through
Yeah, for
social
sure.
media. I think you might have saw our podcast with Zach.
Yep. Yeah, that was kind of
Um,
my little introduction to you guys. Watched the whole thing and
Yeah.
then pretty much like went through your entire Instagram.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think you shot us a message, or we shot you a message because I saw that you're listening to the podcast.
No, I remember I liked a bunch of shit, and then
Oh,
you guys
that's-
liked a bunch of shit.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's just weird, like back and forth.
no, I love when that happens. It's like we're both creeping.
Yeah, if you get like three or more likes from somebody on your Instagram, and then like you like return that, it's like this unspoken.
We're social
message.
media flirting.
Exactly. Like, all right, we got to do
It's like,
something.
all right, who sends the message first?
Exactly.
So from that, we just kind of were DMing back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, pretty much.
I was like, "You want to be on the podcast?" You're like, "Oh, for sure."
Yeah.
So you were out in California building this out.
Yep, at the
think
time
when
I
we
was.
started communicating,
Mhm.
and you were just in South by.
Yep.
And now you're back in Michigan for a few days, and
Yep.
we're linked up. So
Yeah.
Well, let's back up too, because South by Southwest is a huge thing. It's a
Yeah.
huge event, and for some people who might not know what that is, you want to like run a bit.
Yeah, and it's honestly so hard to even describe it,
is,
because
yeah.
from a festival perspective, like South by Southwest as a festival is more so like a conference, really, because it's like very like entrepreneurial based and like label based, and it's a lot of panels and discussions and things like that. And I actually didn't even have access to it. Truthfully, I didn't have a badge or anything like that. I traveled down there with Zach Aggie and Edgar, who owns and runs the Otis clothing company out of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
All three of us are like super close in like what we do and stuff. We've all like worked together a ton. I'm usually always rocking something the Otis on stage and stuff like that. So it was a good trip for us to go down there. Edgar does stuff with a company called Michigan House, and really the best way to describe them is and I don't want to say anything wrong about their brand, but they really just gather a lot of like Michigan like based like companies and artists and things like that, and kind of create like there's a lot of like at South by there's like a Canada house and Australia house.
Really?
They're kind of like that
So it's
type
an
of
actual house. Is it, or what?
well, so the house is more so to like put umbrella on things. I think
Okay.
it's just like a good like a lot of the like things there are showcases and stuff like when it
Okay.
comes to like a label or whatever. And then as far as like the house type thing, it's more so of like I think it's more metaphorical in general, because they basically had like a big church, like a giant church, and then they had they brought in ton like. I can't even remember the number, but it was like some amount of weight of it was ridiculous of stuff that they brought. I mean, they carpeted the whole place
Really?
themselves, and then and the Founders was behind it, and all
That's
kinds of
cool.
cool stuff. And so so they fridges full of Founders, and I think they might have box water there with them and stuff, and
that's
a bunch
cool.
of other different like companies like that. And the Edgar with the Otis has always like made their merch and stuff like that. So he had some Otis stuff out there. He made all their merch, and so that's kind of like was his involvement with it. And months ago, I kind of like told Ted, who is a big part of, or I think possibly the owner. I don't know that for sure. Of Michigan House, told him the whole idea. And they loved it and just kind of wanted to make it part of an interactive so that's the other part, is that South by is like interactive film and music.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are like on the interactive side of things. And unfortunately enough, I really didn't make it there in time for it to be a part of what they were doing. Schedule just got behind, and me and Zach had to kind of like hustle to get some of this stuff built so that we could live in it. And I didn't quite make it to be part of their stuff, which was kind of sad. So hopefully next year it works out more. But I made it in time to at least see what they got going and stuff like that, and like follow the action or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so that was their whole involvement. But as South by in general, is a lot of stuff like that, a lot of like panels of like creatives, people who own clothing companies, people who own labels, pretty much any like insider type talk you could think of that was there that you could attend if you had the right badge.
That's cool.
And then later it was like film and music and stuff
That's
like
awesome.
that. So like, whenever, we were hanging out there, it was like, Rainy Street's one of my favorite bar streets in Austin. And it's like, if you go down there, it's like there's like the Eminem house and like this house and that house. And it's like, and that street actually is a bunch of like houses that have been turned into bars.
Okay.
That's sweet.
But so some of those things, like you could go to them for free. Some of them you had to RSVP. Some of them you had to have a badge. Like I couldn't go to the Action Bronson event because that was like a badge only type thing.
What do you mean by badge? Is it just like something you buy? Or
Yeah, so you can buy a badge for South by. Most people are usually there through a company or something like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
They're really
Get like
sense.
some sort of credentials or something.
yeah,
like that?
it's really expensive if you want to buy. I think it's like $1,600 or something if you want to buy a badge
Wow.
to it. But in turn, like if you've really got a reason to do it, it's definitely worth it. Like if you're trying to get funding or if you got like some crazy thing you're trying to pitch, or like there's reasons as to why I would see you spending that kind of money to
That's
go
the
there.
place to do it.
It's the place to do it for sure. If you're really trying to put yourself out there, I mean, you're in a hub. Like
Networking. And
yeah, and that was just really why I wanted to be down there. It is more so less about going to South by, but being around what South by brings.
that ecosystem, that
yeah,
atmosphere.
I wanted to be in the ecosystem, and that in general like encompasses why I built this. I
Right.
want to be like where I need to be all the time. I want to say yes to everything. I want to like be in the ecosystem that I want to be in. I want to be in the weather I want to be in. And I just want to be able to like meet people off Instagram and then go hang out with them and like kick it with them, be a part of their content, and let them be a part of mine.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah,
the podcast.
yeah, exactly. Like here we are.
Yeah, that's
here we are.
beautiful.
So that's kind of the objective of the whole thing.
And this might be one of the most unique settings that we've had.
I
We're
love
shooting a podcast in a van. I mean, like, we're van guys, and this is just such a cool dynamic to do this.
And Vader has done a great job like building this out.
Yeah.
These seats are extremely
very
comfortable.
comfortable.
You like them? You like them?
I could sit here and play. What were you guys
We were
playing?
playing Mario Kart on the Switch.
I could be
Nintendo
doing that
Switch.
for hours in this seat
Dude.
right here. Yeah,
The
we got
one-
the cooler, the fridge.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
fridge,
full of
fridge.
beer and ice cream.
Yep, and
The
ice
Halo
cream, and
top.
ice cream. Yep. But yeah, no, I mean, me and Zach like the first night in here, like getting all cozy playing Switch. We're like, dude, it'd be really easy to be like lazy as shit in this van. Like, it's gonna be really easy to just leave it in bed mode and
Yep.
just like play video
You kind of
games.
lose track of time in here too, because it's just a little dimly lit.
Yeah,
you don't know what's
uh-huh.
going on. You got the hub all sectioned off, so you have your privacy.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, well,
This
I
is
mean,
money.
you can turn it to like the yellow lights and dim it, so it's like all theater setting. That was a big thing for me.
That's
Is
really-
I wanted to be able to have like the bright white, but also be able to go to like the warm yellow and make it like housey kind of. Like I don't want to just be under LED all the time.
Right.
And, like, I like the modernness of it, but I want the homey feel too.
So talking about the van, the end goal for the van is this is going to be your studio, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously my home, but yeah, like more so, I want this like. When you step into this, I want you to feel like you stepped into a studio, like
Which is
for
super
sure.
unique because there's no shortage of people who have made a van into a livable mobile home, basically, right?
Yeah.
But you're taking it a step further and making it to where you can produce some absolutely killer content and live in it. I mean, I haven't heard of anybody doing something that special.
And I appreciate it because like let's go back like 8 months or whatever. So like I'm always been a big YouTube kid. Like I love YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I follow a ton of people on there. Like I found a really like a lot of I don't know, just cool stuff to follow and get inspired by on YouTube. And through that, in the past while, I've started kind of getting into following some of these people that are doing the whole van life thing. It's definitely something that everyone's like seen on social media and stuff. I've definitely been intrigued by it. I grew up like traveling a lot and stuff. I was like very like blessed to be able to kind of to go out of the country a lot and travel, and I really liked like I'm just a very like I'll put myself out there and just go anywhere. Like
Right.
I'm not afraid to go anywhere by myself. Like I just want to like go all the time and like meet people and stuff like that. So the lifestyle itself was very attractive to
Mm-hmm.
me. Like, I really thought it was just dope. Like, I really wanted to figure out, and just even being around people like Zach or like other photographers, videographers,
Right.
who get to travel all the time for
Yeah.
their content. I'm like, how can I step into that or
Mhm.
like make it feasible for me?
Mm-hmm.
And then also on the side, I kind of like internally took like, what's like my biggest frustration as a producer? Like, I feel like sometimes you have to think like, instead of like if you get creatively stuck on like the progression of like something, almost figure out what you don't like and then fix that,
Right.
and then that'll in turn lead to something else it brings inspiration. And one big thing I really hate about being a producer is just being like stuck in a box all day, or
Mhm.
like stuck in the same location every day, or
Right.
having to like wait to go home to build to produce. You know, I hated like not being able to like let inspiration hit when it hit, and being able to have like, oh, I gotta go home and have my desktop and this and that. And so I don't know. So I took kind of a conglomerate of like all those things and like this lifestyle I'm seeing on YouTube. And one night I was like, I don't think there's anyone doing like what I'm doing in doing the whole van life thing. Like, I don't see anyone combining it. So I literally like spent like a couple nights like trying to find someone who was like, I was like, you know, mobile van studio, this, and also too from a perspective of wanting to get inspiration.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
wanted
for
to try to
sure.
find if there's like
Absolutely.
studio vans.
Yeah.
And the only thing I found was like, I mean, you got your tour buses for big artists that have studios in them. Everyone knows that. And I found a couple people who've got like big bus conversions that had like a, you know, you could put a band on top, or you could, you know, they have as a studio, but it was just a studio. Like, they don't live in it. It's like a company type thing. And I don't know, through kind of all those thoughts, I was like, damn, like I might have something here. Like, if I do this right, and it's been frustrating too, not frustrating, but cool, but frustrating. Like, I've had this layout that I showed you guys like in my head since the get-go, and it's been so hard to articulate that, like what I have in my head, and build it, you know.
I was
But-
gonna ask you, just to take a little segue. Did you
Yeah.
like draw out a plan? Are you like that like engineer mindset to like you drew it all out? You're like, all right, this is exactly what it's gonna look like, or did you kind of make it up as you go?
So yes and no. So that was where I was just saying like I've had this in my head. I think yes, I'm an engineer in mindset enough, and like builder mindset enough to like think of these things, but it was really hard for me to draw it. Like, I kind of suck at turning something like visual.
You just
or
had to
whatever.
do it.
Right.
Yeah, well, I had to do it, but you can't like, you know, I worked on this with my dad and stuff, and like other people like you can't be stubborn like that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, stubborn maybe isn't the right word, but you can't just be like, I have it in my head and I'm just building it.
Right.
Like, do this. Like, you can't like.
There's a lot of
sometimes-
things you can't redo if you
Yeah,
like,
and sometimes my idea is good in hindsight, but how to execute is hard, and I have to explain why what I have in my head. I can't just do it myself.
Yeah.
So that was where this Growing Up Cheyenne came into play. Like, we have been friends in the past and stuff through like shows, like running into each other at shows, but also she's interviewed me actually a couple times.
Okay.
She's worked for like some like publications and stuff like that were like relative to what I was doing, and has interviewed me a couple times. So through that relationship, I knew she was an interior designer, and she did like AutoCAD style kind of work.
Gotcha.
And so, and I knew she was able to do renderings and stuff. And so I'm pretty sure I just called her one day or something, you know, hit her up and was like, kind of pitched my idea, and she was stoked about it. And so we kind of teamed up, and like, and I can show you guys later, cause there's like, I do have 3D renderings of like the completion of
Really?
the van. Yeah.
That's sweet.
That is very
Yeah.
cool.
So she was, you know, through literally just her dealing with me sitting on the phone ranting, like she has gotten
She brought it to life for you.
yeah, brought
That's
it to
cool.
life,
That's
and was able
awesome.
to kind of like envision what I envisioned, and then added her own touch. This light board above us was one of her thoughts, and I figured out that it was actually like it was perfect from like a execution standpoint, being able to like access, you know, pull that whole thing down and access it. But so through our kind of collaboration of like needing to have it like rendered so that my idea was like showable to someone, but then also like working out the quirks and stuff, because we didn't really go so in depth of like figuring out the measurements, because in reality some of the measurements are based on things that are like high on my priority list. So
Right.
like this bench that we're all sitting on, it was built around having my CDJs in it.
Right.
And that CDJ box is really wide, and it can't go up and down because then it'd be too tall. So that made this bench have to be super, super wide.
Right.
But then having that bench super, super wide led Dimensions to having these double backrests, which then led to being able to pull those out and go boom, boom.
Gotcha.
Like,
So
you
you
know
like
what I'm saying?
conceptualized what you needed, and then you prioritized what had to go where, and then it kind of expanded off of that.
Exactly.
And we'll do a full tour, like the entire van. We'll get some sweet B-roll shots.
Yeah, that'd
and
be
we'll
perfect.
Put that in episode 8 of Skroove Tube Vlog, so you can
Perfect.
see the entire beauty that is Victoria.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so like, in general, like, there's a little bit of a raised floor underneath us. That was because these benches had to be a certain height around the generator that's under me. So that generator is like X height, and that meant that, this had to be X height, but then, if this table was any lower than it was, wouldn't be that comfortable.
Right.
So we raised that up a little bit with some 2x4s, and it's perfect. You know what I mean?
That's
So you kind of, I joke, like, telling people about the whole build that, like, me and my dad probably spent more time standing in this van brainstorming than we did building.
Yeah.
And figuring things out. I mean, you're building a house inside of a tube. Like, it's like you can't even use a level because the car's not level.
Yeah.
The car isn't level. It's not on level ground. Like, nothing's straight or square. Like,
You got to be able to kind of pivot a lot and just
Yeah.
like keep adjusting.
and just really it just came down to like picking like a starting point and then just start building on top of it and like figuring it out as you come. But it was frustrating. I mean, there was definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this thing.
For sure.
Real talk.
So how long did it take you
This
to get to where it is?
to get to where it's gone, 2 months of building, and I'd say at least a 3-4 months before that of like planning, prepping, researching.
Research.
Like, I mean, the amount of hours I've spent online, like going into wormholes of researching, I couldn't even add it up. I probably don't want to. Like, it's like downright to figuring out what fan was best and how to install that.
Yeah,
And
there's a
it
lot
took me
of
like
little shit to
Now,
figure out.
did you cut through the roof then?
oh yeah.
So, because to me,
There's
like
a video coming soon. About
Okay,
that.
you know what? I want to see that because that's something we need to do, and you only get one shot at that, cutting through the roof of your van. So what was that like?
That is nerve wracking, dude.
Do you like have a sawzall or something?
Yep. So, and even like the hole in the side for the shore power, that was even more nerve wracking. It's smaller, but at that point, like you couldn't even. I mean, it was literally just a guessing game as to where we're drilling through on the other side. Like I literally was just back there, like 3 feet, like. Okay, I think
Don't hit the gas tank.
I come through at this level, like I
Right.
think you'll be above the batteries,
Right.
But hopefully you won't hit them, But so no, drilling this was like, it was nerve wracking, but we knew the measurements exactly. The hardest part so far of this project really was the solar.
Really?
Like, just from 2 standpoints, not a lot of, I mean, these Ford Transits, like I was saying earlier, are kind of new to being in the U.S. and stuff. There's plenty of the conversions out there for it. But a lot of people, I mean, there's so many different types of solar panels. There's so many, nothing's plug and play. Like, nothing is, there's no solar panels built to put on a Ford Transit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And when it came down to how, like, my biggest thing of this van was the technology power aspect of it. I mean, I really am going, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone has like conversion wise, like as like hefty of a solar system. Wattage wise, I've seen people definitely blow me out the water as far as, the wattage goes, because I have 720 watts up on the ceiling, but they're all monocrystalline, so as far as efficiency wise, they're insane. But the battery bank was what was like intense. So it's 880 amp hours of batteries.
Wow.
So
That's a
4
ton.
220s. Yeah, and they're heavy. They're
Well,
big
dude,
bitches.
if you're trying to produce in here, like you need.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly.
That's
You're
like
trying to
the
make this into a
lifeblood of what you're
studio.
trying to
Yeah,
do.
exactly. And I mean,
Power
when I
is-
went to the first solar company out in Long Beach that I went to talk to, I told the guy like what I'm trying to do, and he was like very blunt about the fact that you cannot do that. Like, you cannot run a studio.
Usually when
also-
someone tells you that, it means you're on track to something good. though.
Yeah, exactly. Like I bring it up because it's like, it literally, as corny as it sounds, there's like motivation to be like, all right, I can. Sorry, yes, you know what you're talking about, but I have a plan. Like,
There's a will, there's a way.
I was very determined to be able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish in here, and we ended up, lo and behold, finding some batteries out there that were kind of new on the market, and dimensionally and amp hour wise fit what I needed, and to be able to get 880 amp hours in here, that was
Dude, that is
was a
insane.
feat.
'Cause
And
I've done all the math on the batteries for our van, and I'm shocked that you were able to pull that
Oh, it's like
off.
400 pounds of batteries.
Oh my God.
Under here, like right under here. Yeah, but they were like they were just boxy enough to like dimensionally fit. And I knew that I wasn't gonna do like a double bench thing. I
Right.
wanted this bench to be able to just be dedicated to the solar and stuff like that, and then have this desk kind of butt up to the wall and be under the TV. Like and like I said, going back to what I said, like I had this vision in my head, and I knew that I had this space to put. I had a big area to allocate towards, batteries and stuff, and there's got to be something out there to fit.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just getting frustrated and going on the internet and trying to find like whatever I could, and we ended up finding them and picking them up from the factory and dropping them in, and the inverter, right here, it has its own home, and everything found a space, but yeah, so the solar was like the biggest frustrating thing to install, because getting getting them mounted was just in itself an insane project. So we used 80-20 bars up on the top, which is like kinetic kits for like adults basically. And this guy, like some of the products I'm using in the van are like I'm the first one to do it, and so this guy had just like figured out these mounting like pieces. I mean, he's literally just on a machine CNCing engineering this piece, and it's just a piece of plastic, but it goes up on these like pre-made mounting holes up on the Ford Transit, but that mounting point's angled, and so it literally just fills that gap like this high to where it makes a level point that if you draw a line across, it goes just above the curvature of the top of the van.
Oh wow!
So that you can put something just all the way across it.
Is he making it for like solar build outs or what?
He's making it for this Ford Transit to put the 80-20 bars on it for solar build outs. Like super
That's
specific
awesome.
to
Very
what
niche.
I'm doing. Very niche. So we put those on, got the bolts down, got the 80-20 bars on. That was smooth sailing. That was like sweet. It was like dope. Now I have bars on here that I can put anything I want onto it. But when it came down to putting the solar panels on it, this guy like had these like brackets that he envisioned you would use to put the solar panels down, put like no one's done it yet, so I was the first one to do it.
Right.
And the second I got the brackets, I was like, this won't work.
Really?
This won't work. No, because they were like L brackets, but all on the inside of like if you got this rail and you got the solar panels all like on the inside, and I'm like, you can't get your hand underneath the solar panel to bolt
mount
anything.
it.
Like
Yeah.
what are you even thinking? I was like. And it's just like, but I could also see that how you wouldn't think of that unless you go to do it.
Right.
So I literally had to take those pieces, which were expensive, and go. I actually I have this welder out in LA, and I was like, I need you to take this piece, but I need you to cut it up exactly like this. I had all this drawings on there, and I had him like recut the piece up and just like butcher it just to save the money and use the pieces that we'd already bought and create mounting brackets for the outside of the solar panels, and it now worked, and it worked great.
Really?
But that in itself took a couple weekends to figure out, and then get them cut, and then get them back up there, and then getting the solar panels up there was hard, and then getting them bolted in and wired.
Are you mounted right to the solar panels, or did you put the solar panels on something?
Yeah, so the 80-20 bars run like lateral, like with the car on each side, and then the solar panels sit on top of those.
Okay.
And then there's brackets on each side that kind of like come in and mount them to it on the outside rather than up under it and stuff. And then the cables run all up underneath them, and then they're kind of like zip tied to each one so that they don't like slap the roof and stuff.
Gotcha.
And then they all like enter in like literally right there.
So you just drill
and then
the
that
little
was
hole.
another hole that I had to
Yeah.
more holes in the van. We got 3 holes in here, but yeah, we had to like drill another hole and put a big cable through, and then all the way down to the batteries. So
Right on.
so it's just
Well,
like
it
little
works.
things like that. Yeah, it works
Right
great.
now we're at 99.2%.
Oh,
We're doing great.
using a lot. Yeah, no, that was one thing we were talking about. It's been insane to see how like much energy I really get from these solar panels, and like I at first was like, oh, I'm not gonna put a microwave in here. No, I'm putting a microwave in here. Like I'm putting a microwave in here now.
That's
like,
get your easy Mac going.
That is
nerdy. Yeah, no, this is a beautiful van, and it's so cool that you did what it had to do, especially when you said the guy was like, oh yeah, nobody can do that. That's not possible. Of course it's possible. You just gotta.
Well, I
find
love
the
the mindset too, which is what we're totally about. There's like this generic path to like a producer. Like you have a studio, you work like 12 hours a day, and you're sitting in this booth, and you know you have people come to you and all this stuff, and like you're looking for inspiration, and you're just sitting in this box. But in today's day and age, with the internet and just social media,
it's incredible,
and the technology that you can literally transform a van to be a studio, and
it's
produce music.
Well, it's like what we were talking about. This is our podcast. Like this box, like literally.
We're not even using any power. We're not even plugged into anything.
It's 4 AAA or AA batteries, and we can go to anybody anywhere in the world and film a podcast on this little box. It's an insane. Yeah, it's exactly.
It's
what
so
you're
cool
saying.
to conceive that idea, then have the mindset like I'm gonna stop at nothing to bring this to life. And there's nobody else doing this, and like I'm gonna be a kind of a pioneer and just go for it and figure it out along the way.
Well, and like one of my favorite like sayings that I've heard like recently from like this Peter McKinnon. You guys might know him.
I like him.
Like done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Like just do shit. Like put it out. Like stop the perfection game. And like that's why I even laughed at myself when I told you that I was like kind of like wanting to make my EP like putting it off a little bit to make it how I want it, because it's like I even hate saying that myself, because it's like just put shit out. Like just do shit. Like nothing has to be like perfect anymore. There's a million people like doing everything, so you just have to be everyone to the punch.
Like that. Like that's a good way to
done is
done is better than perfect. No, seriously though, because like that's like we always say like action, like the way we've always phrased it is, or he kind of coined it was like action like trumps anything, like just doing it.
Like this podcast, like you don't have to like we don't need to be in a radio studio.
We
don't need to have like hundreds of dollars of microphones and audio engineering equipment. You don't need to pay some guy on the left to be like mixing everything live. Like screw all that, make it. Like this will like be bigger than something that is done. Like they can like. At the end of the day, no one knows and no one cares. They just want to hear what we're talking about.
As long as your message is strong.
Yeah, like just make it like
action,
in a van.
Action trumps all.
I like how you sum that up though. That I feel like if there's one thing, I could give to anybody. Like anybody that's like trying to start out, what we always say, like follow your instinct is, like the primary, but that you just have to do it. People talk about it for so long because they want it to be perfect, and it's like,
well, that's the great divider.
It is the great divider. It's like this vlog, like the first 3 episodes of this new vlog we launched, like episode 1 and 2, like looking back, I'm like, oh man, I don't like those at all. But it's like I had to get those 2 out of the way to figure out how 3, 4, the rest of them are structured. Now I got a consistent theme going. Like you have to just, like Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? Like you have to do stuff.
Personally, like my mindset on it, and is like you do have to, put thought into things, and you do have to make them good. But at the end of the day, 95% of it is bullshit and people making excuses just why they want to do something, Yeah. And that's why the graveyard's the richest place in the world, because people die with these great ideas and great concepts and what they really want to do in life, but they piss away their life and never actually do anything because they make excuses, and they're like, oh, I got to wait till this and this and this, instead of just doing something and just figuring it out as you go.
Yeah. Because I totally agree. It's like all about balance, and you definitely need to put your thought into it. But yeah, like pull the trigger. I mean, same thing like with me with my vlogs. Like that was really like, I mean, you got all these like van life people with these perfect vlogs, and they've got like the most like so much following and this and that, and it was like, even if I'm not trying to be that exact branding, blah blah blah, like it was intimidating to like put out a first YouTube one. Like it, like the YouTube was such a difference to me than like Instagram content. Like it just had this like aura in my head, like.
The YouTube
so I
community.
So I made some on Instagram, and I made some 60-second ones. I dabbled with it. I made some. People liked them. And I was like, oh shit, like okay, like whatever, like I'll make one. And then I just like me and Zach were packing up my last apartment that I had, and I was like, I gotta do one today. Like I got it. Like I'm packing up my van. I got an empty shell. Like I'm going, up to my parents' house and then heading out west. Like I'd be dumb not to. And now's the perfect time, so let's do it. And I filmed it, and totally, like, it comes, with art, with music, with videos, with anything, with photos, like, you're gonna hate your first work, like, because you evolve, like, but if you, like, wait till you put out your best content, you're never gonna have your best content.
Right.
Like, even rock stars are like, my music's trash, like, from 6 months ago, like, but that's what pushes you to keep making more, and, like, progressing and stuff.
That's exactly it.
And I
Fine-tune your
preach
craft.
it because I've everyone's been there. And I've definitely been there at a point where I was like scared to it, and I had my people that were like, just keep making shit, just keep making shit. I mean, my friend Nick, like, he's like, just put shit out, just make shit. Like, he always was pushing me to like, you know, just like, you know, stop trying to like work 15 million hours on a track, because it's not gonna be perfect. Like, make it and move on, scrap it, move on, scrap it, move on, scrap it, move on. And for a while it was hard to even like teach myself that, but I'm starting to get better at it, you know.
Well, and you get better at it by doing it, and that's how
Exactly.
That's how you get better.
That's how your work gets better, is by making more work.
Yep.
And constantly progressing and having that mindset that like, okay, that was good, but what can I do better next time? You know, and keep improving on it and progressing.
Yeah.
Let's restart these cameras real quick.
Okay.
Because we got to like 28 minutes. They shut off.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll restart those.
Should probably go ahead and turn that heat off too. It's
How
a
do-
little toasty. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it is a little warm in here. Oh, Victoria.
Actually, you want to just turn the engine off? Yeah. Fuck it.
There we go.
Perfect.
So let's because we just met today. So we just met Vadr like a couple hours ago. You rolled up in the van.
Yeah, for
gave
sure.
us a tour, and we had some beers, played some darts, hung out.
Yeah, it was chill. Loved it.
Yeah.
So how did you get into music?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, going all the way back, really, like my first experiences with, I guess, quote unquote, making music and all that stuff just came from having like friends that like were into freestyling and stuff like that. And I just make like little beats for them in like a program called Machine. I like bought this like Machine Micro, and it was a little beat making pad, and I just make little beats and stuff like that, and like nothing serious. And
When is this? High school?
yeah, so we're talking like early high school days.
Okay.
So being an only child, I was just always kind of like hanging out with older kids and stuff like that, and like just older crowds. So I was definitely like out moving around a lot and like going to parties and you know, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of what lended my hand to like DJing first. I think like I always like made like beats on the side, but as far as like I was passionate about this, it definitely was DJing first. I guess I've talked about it so many times that my conclusion has been that I just like to like curate something. And once again, like being an only child is like I just had myself, so I like always wanted to have that thing that like brought people to me, like together and stuff, and like I could enjoy with other people and stuff. And I don't know. So I was a huge music nerd. Like I just like I'm an internet nerd. To be pretty even simpler. I'm just an internet nerd. Like I like Reddit, like 4chan, like you know, like all these. Like I just like loved like
Getting down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, I'll spend all night. Like I was just a night owl. Like I'm the worst at getting sleep, like ever. But when I do, I sleep like a bear. But like if I don't get to that point, like I'm not going to bed.
I just discovered Reddit, by the way, which is so strange.
Oh, really?
And it's consumed me. Like,
I
it's my
bet.
favorite
I bet you're
platform.
done. Yeah, like good luck to getting anything done.
Dude, it was
for
like
the
a
rest of your
month ago.
life.
Like, I found it, and I'm like, this is the ultimate. It's like controlled by the people. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like minimal
All user
trolls because all the
submitted.
upvote, downvote. But anyway, continue. So
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, and Reddit's been like a blessing, like my whole life, just having like community in general, but then like having like something that's like research based, but you can be a part of. But like, yeah,
it's
like,
weird.
Yeah, like I loved like archeries, like when I was a young stoner, and like you know, like archeries is the best. Like I had a photo that went viral on there one year, and it was like awesome.
Really?
Like, yeah, like Cheech and Chong actually like posted it a couple times on their page. Like, yeah, it's this picture of this like zombie handpipe that I posted that I got when I was in college, and I like posted it, and it went viral. It went viral. Like the next day, like this girl across the hall in my dorm room was like. She was on Tumblr, and she was like, "Isn't this that photo you showed me? Like, it has like 60,000 notes on Tumblr." And I'm like,
how many? What's your Reddit karma now then?
The Reddit karma for it was like 10,000 or something like that. It was like done off of one post. Like, I mean, I don't post a ton, so it was like pretty much one post. Like, and it got like an insane amount of karma on there. It was like it actually trended on like the homepage for a little bit.
That
which
is
was like, yeah. I mean, for me, like being like a you know forever Reddit user, it was like
kind of a mighty.
I made
dream
it big,
come
like
true.
you know. But anyway, so yeah, so I was always an internet nerd and stuff like that. So being an internet nerd, I was just always so into like diving really deep into like just music and stuff like that, and finding underground people and like finding old stuff and new stuff and this and that. Like I always just had like I had like one of the first iPods. Like I had like the one that had like the 4 buttons on the top, and the one that had like the touch wheel, and like I was like a OG to the iPod days, just from the standpoint of like I
You still have them?
Yeah, I still have them.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
that's bad. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
I'll never sell them or throw them away or whatever. Like they're little relics to me. But yeah, so like I just always like wanted to like fill up my iPod with like new playlists and like this and that, and that kind of lended its hand to being like the kid that always hogged the aux cord in the car, and, like, you know what I mean? And then that lended
He's
his
got the
hand.
music nobody knows.
Yeah. He's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like,
It's not on the radio. It will be.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. My secret. but yeah, so that kind of lended his hand into being the kid that like took the aux cord to the party, and so like whenever some of these like DJ pages like DJ Tech Tools was like a big page that I used to always. They started as like a forum page, and then they had like products that they came out with, and got kind of like pretty big in like the DJ controllerism side of things, and that's when DJing had evolved enough into like I'm a young kid, so like I'm definitely on the technology side of like DJing or whatever, so so that was kind of like the first era of that / like when EDM was kind of coming into play in like America like and stuff, and so that kind of all kind of like inspired me to like get a controller, and just start DJing, and it was like cool because I bought like an APC 40, which is actually like a controller meant for like Ableton, which is a music production software. Okay. But I bought that and then like MIDI mapped it, which is I programmed it to basically run this DJing software that I had.
Oh, sweet.
And it was cool because it had like millions of buttons on it and knobs and this and that, and I could program it to whatever I wanted to, and I'd throw it in my backpack or car or whatever and take it to parties and
in high school
start,
still?
Yeah, so we're all in high school still.
Like sophomore, junior?
So it was like sophomore year up to like senior year, and started like DJing house parties, and I'd go to this place called Denton, and they had like UNT was the college there, and it was like a not super big school, and it was like just like full of hipsters that like loved music and stuff, and it was like awesome. It was like totally my vibe, and like we just have like little house parties. I remember this we had this like one house that we would always throw parties at, and it was perfect because it was like just off the beaten path enough from all the bar streets, and they had this like acre lot behind them that everyone could park cars, and no one from the street could even tell the cars were there. It was like the coup de grace of like a house party. It was like perfect, and like 4 of my friends like lived in it, and so we'd all throw down some money like here and there, and then like buy like 4 or 5 kegs and bottle of Everclear. Yeah, dude.
Bet you wish you were vlogging then.
Oh my dude, bro, nailed it on the head. Like
really?
Now that I vlog, like oh my. It's probably a good thing I didn't vlog.
Too much incriminating footage.
Oh
like,
my God.
Like small side tangent though, like we talk about these video series and stuff. How cool is it? It's something we like to reflect on. It's like you have like your life documented. Like how sweet is that?
I know.
It's the coolest thing. Like I always save my videos in my hard drive by date. So if I ever want to go back, what was I doing
on this
last
day?
March on the 24th? You just type it in, like it's so. But anyway, yeah.
No,
it's probably a good
it's
thing
cool.
that you were vlogging.
Yeah, like those days I wasn't mature enough to know what to keep off video, so it's probably a good thing. But
careful what you put out on the internet, kids.
Exactly. So. But no, so like, and yeah, we'd like charge $5 at the door, and that whole thing. We'd all make a little bit of money. It was like our own, like it was like our started being like promoters. It was hilarious, but yeah, and that was like, and I love that was like my start to things because I feel like I got a really good how do I put this? Like the most crude but perfect training on how to be a DJ. Because I feel like nowadays, like it's like any like creative market. It's super saturated, like et cetera, et cetera. And like I got a really like true sense of like how to like cater to a crowd, and how to keep the vibe, how to walk into a place that I'm the youngest kid and I know nobody. And how do I figure out what they like? You know what I mean? Because I had very eccentric music taste, and so did they. And that, like, sometimes what I wanted to play wasn't perfect. And a lot of DJs nowadays are very, like, stubborn to, like, I'm only going to play if I get to play what I want to play. And it's not about that. Like, it's not. It's about figuring out how to, like, create a vibe and then, like, add your blend to it. Like, how to add your style to it. It's not... have fun with it. You don't have to like play stuff that you're miserable at. Right. Like you don't have to play a venue that you're going to be miserable. Like definitely pick and choose. But I just got that like really cool, very just underground vibe of like how to cater a house party and how to keep it going, all the way through the night. It was only DJ. It wasn't like we were like set after set after set. It was
right.
Like my set time was like 12 to midnight. Right. I was the headliner. No. Playing from like
it was raw. It was
to like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
I was ready to pass out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it was fun as fuck. It was awesome. It was like the best experiences ever. So that was kind of my start.
Comes back down to just taking action and doing it.
Yeah,
like you learn by doing it.
Yeah,
like you could watch 100 YouTube videos on how you should DJ a party.
Or maybe wait till you get all the right equipment. And no, you just
pull
do
the
it.
trigger.
Yeah,
and went
it
for
was cheap. It was
Yep.
like I could program it to the software I wanted to, and I was like, dope.
It worked.
Yeah, dope. It was portable. Like portable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Go, man.
There's a common theme.
yeah, it's a very common theme
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was just it. And I think like you just said, I don't even think I realized that quite yet. Is I was just kind of like learning how to just do instead of like being like intimidated about everything.
Overanalyzing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean that itself kind of just like led to everything that it, moving on what it became, and then the whole like beat making thing was like. Even sometimes I had this little app that I just make a little beat on my phone, and like because I'd always be in the circle. My friend Matt, like he's really good at freestyling, and I killed it. I wish to this day he'd still rap. I always give him shit about that. He's like, no, dude, no.
Revival tour.
But anyways, we were very unassuming kids to be me making beats and him freestyling.
Really?
Weren't the kind of kids you'd like, we live in Texas and we were around it was a very eccentric crowd and stuff. And but anyways, we'd step in the circle and I'd throw down a beat or something like that or whatever, and he'd like freestyle for an insane amount of time. And that was kind of like my first taste at like and that's why I think I loved like hip hop. Like, to go on a side tangent, like I like the whole like hip hop beat making and recording stuff. Like I just really like the in the momentness stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Spontaneity.
Yeah, like hip hop beat. It's simple. It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
I think the art of it is being simple but executing. Like, and I really like that. Like I was kind of telling you guys earlier that like aspirationally don't like really incline towards the super intense EDM production style stuff. I love it. Like I love to nerd out on it. Like I definitely have my tracks or projects that I've spent hours and hours and hours doing. But I really find passion in the quick like vibing with someone type stuff and like being in the studio with someone and like making a beat on the fly or whatever. and
Right.
stuff.
So who's your inspiration
I'm
musically?
just gonna go by the most recent, and Juice WRLD has been kind of like he's like this low key guy that's kind of like blowing up right now, and he's got this like sound that I just like fell in love with a few weeks ago, and like he's like super cool and was on a bunch of like Lyrical Lemonade shows in Austin. I sadly like missed him, but like. I just really like these underground cats that kind of blow up out of nowhere. Like,
Really?
and they have this like cool sound. Like I was really into Six Dogs for a while. This guy, he literally is the number 6 Dogs. Like, and he's just this like super young kid from I don't even remember where, and he had this song that blew up, and like I just like love that kind of stuff.
How do you find new music?
Through a lot of like podcasts that I listen to. I was mentioning like No Jumper. I listen to a lot of like No Jumper podcasts and like stuff like that. And just diving deep on SoundCloud. I don't know what it is about how I'm able to like find these people on SoundCloud, but I just like wormhole in one. I'll wormhole one night and I'll come out with like my next few weeks of like people that I love.
Really?
And then I like follow the shit out of them, and then I like do it again. And that's just been since I was a kid, like all the way back to where we started on this rant. It's like
exactly.
We're rolling on the internet.
yeah, it's just like diving super deep and finding these people that no one knew about, and they don't have a lot of traction. And it's cool because then they kind of like tend to be the people that you can reach out to or whatever and stuff. And I think like a big goal of mine is to kind of just like find that like kid that no one knows about, and then like help him come to light and a little bit, and like curate that. And like I think that's like what I like really I think that like hunt is like what I like find.
Yeah,
like,
that's very
passion
cool,
in and
too.
Stuff,
To be the one that like like you say, that journey to like, oh, who is this gonna be? And you get a couple kids in the studio that might not be yet. But then you get this one kid, you're like, oh, produce something. Like, oh, this is sweet. Let's put that out there. So it
Exactly.
happens and it blows up. It's like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of like I don't even really remember like we've known each other for so long, but I don't really remember how we met. But like I played a lot of stuff with this guy named Roscoe P recently. The past like couple years. Like if you watch like some of my socials, there's definitely a lot of him on there and stuff like that. And he's just another Lansing cat who I met out of the blue and like had a dope sound and like, has a dope sound, and we like clicked and vibed and whatever, and like. We made this track called like Tales of the Sith, and like it's really dope and stuff, and we'll hopefully make a lot of more stuff in the future. Obviously I've been like super busy and like out of town lately, so haven't really made as much as I like wish we had, but like, you know, we've played a lot of really dope shows together and stuff, and you know, hopefully I can, you know, help him out in the future and stuff like that. And you know, he's doing his own thing and it's killing. He's killing it. You know, it's just like little things like that. They just like make me happy, like being able to connect with like other people. Yeah, like
for sure,
connect with other people, and then like just pull them out of the show and like, you know, like rage.
Yeah,
like, you know
create
what I
something
mean?
together.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's a cool vibe. It's like a cool energy to like have that and stuff. And I think it just always kind of circles back to like the fact that like I'm always like searching to just like vibe out with some people and stuff.
Right.
You know, I just don't, you know, I think it's my only childness sometimes like shining through or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I think you said in episode 1 of the vlog, you're like, oh, I'm so excited to get this van, be able to just travel and just like to meet people and interact with people.
I like that. There's a
That's
specific
cool.
line that you said that I thought was I just liked how it was crafted. And you said I want to enjoy as many people as possible, and I thought that was genuine, and like I knew exactly what you meant by that, and I think that's a cool way to put it.
I mean, it's like right here, like I'm enjoying like the shit out of you guys.
For
like,
sure,
it's
man.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's
like-
mutual.
yeah, and I just think that I don't know. It's just like the world is so big and has so many people in it, and it's just like seems stupid to just stay in one place and like and you know like the it's awesome to have a circle of friends, and I have my circle of friends for sure, but like what, like why, like I
There's
just
so
want
much
to
to experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
like everyone has like I'm obsessed with like everyone's like backgrounds and like what they're interested in and like this and that. Like
Everyone has a
everyone's just
story,
everyone's
yeah.
just so different. It has a story. Like everyone has something to talk about. Like,
And that's what we like to do with this show.
That's
is share-
exactly-
share that story.
yeah.
That's exactly why we like started this, is because we love people that are pursuing their passion, that journey. That's, you know, our motto is choose happy. And the purpose of starting the podcast was, one, to build this platform with Skroove to hopefully, you know, have our audience get to know you, and if we can throw some followers your way and, you know, help grow your audience, then
Maybe you
awesome.
inspire somebody who is debating, you know, pursuing this lifestyle, and say, okay, you know, he could do it. Why can't I?
Right.
That's
So
like
use
the
it as
big
a platform
underlying
to like, kind
theme.
of inspire people.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you talked about moving around a lot. So now you're originally from Texas,
Yeah, from Dallas, Texas.
and then you went to college at the Michigan State
yep, Michigan State. Yep,
and graduated with a degree in what?
advertising.
Advertising. So I mean, look, you know, you've been all over, and you have this advertising degree, which I'm sure complements your brand. But you know what I mean. You didn't limit yourself to that, and you know, you branched out into doing what really makes you happy. And I think that's super important. That just because you go to college and get a degree in something, it doesn't anchor you to that, and it can also complement what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's like it's an interesting topic to like bring up because it has such a stigma around it nowadays. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like there's such a stigma on both sides of it, like going to college and not going to college. And I don't think that there's a perfect answer. Like I just don't.
agree.
Like I you know, I could sit here and be like, I could have done this without college. Like screw college. I'm not using it. Like, but I'm not. Like I definitely met so many dope people going through college. I definitely learned, you know, some tips and things that like, you know, or even just verbiage or like a way of like articulating something.
Probably
to,
learned a lot about yourself too.
yeah, tons about myself, like and you know my boundaries and like what I'm able to handle and like you know how motivated I really can be or how much I can like push through something or you know like there's tons of times where I didn't think I'd finish and tons of times where I think I thought I was gonna like stop and give up, but then I had those people around me that helped me out or you know were able to be there to just talk with me or whatever and stuff, and it had its own slew of like experiences that I couldn't be here without. So I just can't say that I don't take value from it. Yeah, I'm not really using my degree very heavily. Like it probably helped me with my, you know, with picking up a client to do social media work with and things like that. And, you know, and that's where I was saying like it maybe helped me articulate things like there's, you know, social media makes sense to people like us, like, or whatever, or age group, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
But you just can't say it the same way to everybody.
Right.
Like, oh, if you've got a big following, you can sell a lot. No,
Right,
you can't just say
right,
that to like
right.
any business or something like that. Like, you have to like make it make sense and you know put analytics behind it and like. There's
That's so true.
Yeah, and
That
so
is
there's
so true.
so there's like little things like that like I picked up through doing you know school that have helped me just articulate things better. Like, and yeah, so it was a good experience and like I said, it's just really hard to like be able to. it's just hard to, say what side of it I land on as far as like the whole like going to college and not going to college. I mean, my best friend Zach Haggy over here didn't go to college. He's doing great, like, but he has his own ways of doing things, and he's his own path journey, blah 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 blah.
I think it depends on the person, what's best for you. I don't think there's no blanket statement or blanket answer. It's all based off the individual, and you just got to make your own decision when it comes to that, and typically just follow your gut.
So you're in college, you're at MSU, and let's talk about how Vadr started.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't think Tyler was downstairs when you were telling me about the origin of all that.
For sure.
The Metachlorians.
So it definitely does lend its hand into the fact that I like grew up with just loving Star Wars and all this stuff. I was telling you that like, my one toy as a kid was not video games, was not anything but I wanted some freaking Lego Star Wars for Christmas. Like I wanted like a Lego Star Wars kit, and that's all I wanted to like do and stuff. But really more so so the background story of it is just that like so growing up I just did not like my name. Like I just didn't feel like it fit me. It was a girl's name. I got told it was a girl's name, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and just didn't care for my name. So as a little kid, I'd try to tell kids that my name was Anakin, like all the time. My parents would get so annoyed. They'd be like, "Oh my god, like no, his name is not Anakin. Like, I promise. Like we did not name our child Anakin." And like I'd like go as far as like I had this little like the little braid clip that would like clip over your ear, and it had the little like Anakin braid that he had in like episode 1 and stuff. Yeah. And I like was like, "Oh, like I'm Anakin, like braid, like what the what's up?" Yeah. So anyway, so like fast forward like sophomore year of high school or of college, and I ended up like there's this I'm even gonna like elaborate a little bit more than I told you. So there's like this I went through my first year of college like not really like knowing like how to like interject myself as a DJ. Like I'd never branded it, done it in like a legitimate way or professional way, or like I didn't know how to DJ. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I like the art of like the brand and the business side. And, like I was just this kid that brought a controller around all the time and like hooked up a house party. That's no way to like enter
your personal brand.
Yeah, so I never really was able to like kind of figure it out that first year of college. So much figuring yourself out. Like where do I fit? Like I wasn't like blending in with the like Greek life, and like I didn't feel like I had found anything that like I didn't feel like I had found friends. And so anyway, so like I was always going to this party called the Riverboat on like every Wednesday night, and it was like on this triple decker boat. And it was just like just shit show every Wednesday night of college kids. Like we'd pregame in the dorms and Uber to this thing, and it was really dope. And so my freshman year in the dorms, I actually met the guy who threw it, and that is Nick, who you guys have heard a little bit about with Zach's podcast. He brought him up many times, and it's funny that because he's gonna come up again, like A-Full guy,
reoccurring theme.
Yep, he's gonna come up a lot, and because he's a big part of also once again like my little web of people that I ended up therefore meeting in Michigan. And anyway, so I met him and his girlfriend going around and passing out flyers and stuff on my dorm room, and I was just like, that kid was like, "Hey, DJ, like, I'd love to DJ on your thing," and he's like, send me your SoundCloud link, blah blah blah. Like it's very like it was there's a little tryout, like this fucking kid like wants to DJ on my boat, like whatever. So I sent a SoundCloud link, got no reply, like per usual. But anyway, so like that little moment came back a year later in my sophomore year, and I was still going to this dang Riverboat party getting drunk, and like he pulls me off the dance floor one day and was like, "Hey, do you still DJ?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, totally." Had never DJed in like a year and a half. And like I was like, "Yeah, totally, for sure." Like my epitome of DJing at the time had been like in my dorm rooms for pregame. So I was totally lying, and like he's like, "Cool, we're gonna open up a VIP room on the 3rd deck. Like, you want to DJ for free?" And I'm like, sweet. "Yeah, duh." Like, duh. So he introduces me to this guy named John Smoltz. And John was a DJ at Michigan State. Had his hands in a lot of things, but was much older than me. And he was kind of like coming up on he was like late junior year at the time, so he's kind of come up on his like his end of things and stuff. And we got introduced by him and clicked super well. Anyway, so John, he at the time went by Double Down, was his DJ name, and he had a show. He was hosting a show called The Pulse on Impact 89 FM, which is MSU's student radio show, which is actually like a very highly rated radio show. Grizz, I don't know if you guys are he actually used to host that radio show.
Oh wow, really?
So he went to state and left in his sophomore year, but he for about a year and a half hosted, and at the time it was called the Mechanical Pulse. But he was a host of that. There's a cool old school picture of him like in the office of him,
Oh, wow.
and it was like the studio was made out of like plywood and like all this shit. It was cool.
Oh wow.
But anyway, so he was like, "Yo, I'll, we met, connected, blah blah blah," and he was like, "Hey, like I'll throw you on my radio show. Like, you do a guest mix or whatever." And I was like, "Totally, like dope." I was freaking out.
This is
like,
sophomore year too.
So this is still sophomore year. Yep. So this is sophomore year, and anyway, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll put you on my radio show. You can do like a guest mix, and it'd be fun, like whatever. So like, let me know your DJ name, and I'll shout you out the week before." And I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I was sweating. I was like, "I haven't DJed in forever. I'm gonna be on the radio now. I need a name." Like,
Are
it was
you
like,
doing the houseboat party at this
no,
point?
so I no. This was like this all pretty much was the same like night and next day of when Nick pulled me off to the side of the dance floor. Yeah, we're like in a very small like loop of time right now.
This
With a
reminds
lot
me
of-
of Spider-Man, like when they like the Tobey Maguire one when they put him in the cage. He's like, you need a name. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the
no,
rest of the
literally,
name,
this
like-
was like the birth moment.
The
Like, it was
human
like,
spider.
Yeah, it was like it happened really fast, and like I, at the time didn't really understand like how good of like a network I just landed
Right,
into. You know what I
right.
mean? It was kind of like that perfect whatever, the perfect storm of like.
Serendipity.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome, and it was just like I think it was just so much like bringing stuff into existence of like wanting to like do this and keeping like trying. You
for
know what
sure.
I mean? So anyway, so still at the same timeline. So like that week, I was like, shit, like I'm about to play on the radio. Like I need a name. Like blah blah blah, and I was like really nervous about everything and didn't want to rush things. So I kind of put it in the back of my head for a couple of days, and then this is where I was telling you is that like so like one day I was just like having a couple beers with someone or something like that, and was telling someone about the story about how I used to tell people my name was Anakin and blah blah blah, and then like a little spark like hit me, and I was like, well, like Anakin became Darth Vader, and I was like, wow, like my music taste got way darker. I love the like dark side of hip hop and EDM and like this and that. Like I was like, dude, that actually like works so well.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so like the name like Vader. So I was like, so Darth Vader was in my head, right? And then I was just like, at the time, like my one thing with like when I was trying to think of the DJ name that week was like I really wanted something that was like short and sweet, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Skrillex, like Diplo, or like you could think of a million like EDM big names that are just like this like quick, like it feels like a
1-2
name.
syllables.
It's
Good
not
for the
like
brand, yeah.
It's not like a
Yeah.
DJ so and so, or like I didn't want that like that almost like a sentence type name. You know what I mean? I wanted that like name. And then when I thought of Vader, or Darth Vader, I was like, oh cool, like Vader, and then I like got the E, and then it was like just 4 letters, and it was Vader. It was like, I was like, that's kind of cool or whatever. And I like told a couple friends, like the few friends I had at the time on my dorm hall, and they thought it was funny, and they just started calling me Vader. And I at the time I was like the new kid and stuff still, so like anyone I was like being like introduced to or like was meeting was like either I was like new to them, so it started like throughout the week it was just like Vader and or whatever, and it stuck, and I was like, all right, this is cool, I kind of like it. And so I like went with, I was like, yeah man, my name's Vader, like blah blah blah. And then I like did this mix on there, and it was totally like it's actually on my SoundCloud.
Okay.
The original
yeah.
MSU radio
Oh my
mix.
god, I didn't. Wow, through telling you this, I'm like realizing like that's actually like the debut Vader mix. Like
Really?
it's kind of funny. Like I never really thought about that, but it's totally like a funk mix. It's like all like Grizz and Grammatic and like Big Gigantic and like all those kind of like festival funk people. But anyway, so yeah, so that was like my first little.
That was
like,
the birth of
debut.
Vader.
Yeah.
Lord Vader.
Yeah, so
Nice.
then, yeah, he rose.
Coming up on the tape.
So yeah, so I just kept rolling with it, and like from there on out, like that was like really the first me kind of like, entering into like the circle of people that I started making friends with and started like networking with. So like everyone from there was meeting me as Vader, and I think that kind of also like lended its hand into like my like hardcore branding in this area of as like Vader, you know what I mean? Like no one knew like Addison, no one knew like me previously, and I think that too was like a big like thing about me, like moving across the country and like going to a new school and like new state.
Yep.
Like I could kind of like I could like brand myself, you know what I mean? Like I could start over like fresh and stuff. Not that there was anything bad to walk
kind of
away
found out
from,
who
but
you truly were, and like, all right, this is my identity now.
yeah, I chose my identity and I ran with it and I stuck to it.
That's
and I
cool.
think that was like, I'm really grateful for that. It's the best way I can put it.
And college was a great platform to for that to happen in.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't happen anywhere else unless
Exactly.
you just moved away and just like worked bussing tables somewhere, you know.
Ooh, and because to people I grew up with, that's like the Vader thing's still a little bit of a concept to them. You know what I mean? Like they had to like
they know you as Addison, like growing up, right?
Yeah, they knew me as that, and it was kind of cool to be able to be in a new place where like no one knew me as anything. I can kind of like choose to how you know, like know
Kind
me.
of a clean slate.
Yeah, it was really there was like a beauty in it, you know.
So you're doing the radio show, and now you're like regularly DJing the houseboat parties. Like, did you do the radio show? Is that a reoccurring thing?
Okay,
or like
so
a one-time thing?
yeah, so like good question. Like so what led after that was that I ended up on the riverboat side of things. I ended up DJing up there, and then me and Nick that night, like the first time I DJ'd up there, we became like best friends. Yeah, I remember to this day, he was like, came over to me and was like, can you just like come to my house and like DJ for me and my friends? I was like, what? Like, but I was like, nah, I get it, because we're such a, like, I'll just set up my decks like at his studio and we'll just like, I'll just throw down like 10 people, you know what I mean? It's like we just like love to like just rage out and you know this and that, and but at the time like that was hilarious to me, and I like loved him for it. Older than me, yeah.
Grade wise,
no.
Was he a sophomore or was he older than a sophomore?
At the time, yeah. So at the time he was like a senior, like about to graduate.
Okay.
So like
I was just curious. Like,
I think
that dynamic,
the mentor.
He actually might have been a junior. So
Maybe.
because him and John Smells Like Double Down were like the same age bracket, like they were in the same like grade. So I kind of met everyone on their tail end of MSU, and then they met me at the kind of the beginnings of MSU.
Got it.
So on the DJ side of things with the boat, I ended up doing that. Nick started paying me like to be the like VIP DJ, and then over time I kind of like went downstairs to the main stage with John, and I'd be like his warm up guy, and then John ended up graduating and leaving, and I kind of like went into filled his role. So I actually ended up taking over the Pulse, and I actually ran the radio station.
Oh,
so I ran
cool.
the Pulse for about 3 years.
Okay.
So I was my radio show for a while, and then so I DJ'd that with John. And then I did and then in time with the Riverboat, I became the head DJ on that.
Okay.
And then kind of helped organize it and later down the road and stuff like that. So I became very much a like quintessential part of the music side of that.
At MSU.
At MSU. So well, I mean, it wasn't affiliated with it or anything like that. It was literally
you were
just
known around because you did the radio show.
Yeah.
People that were in that scene.
Exactly. So definitely the MSU crowd. Like I definitely like through that. Definitely, it was such a blessing to be able to kind of like really click and connect with John, and then kind of like it was awesome for him to kind of like pass down his roles to me, because he moved to Atlanta, and so I took his radio show over. Like I kind of took the Riverboat over.
Did everybody know you was Vader? Too?
Yeah, and no one knew me as Addison. It was all
That's
just
sweet.
Vader.
That's
Like, and
sweet.
that was like my entry, but then ended up being some of the biggest opportunities I could have even gotten. So no one, like, it was just like what I fell into. And you know, unfortunately I didn't get to take the radio show super far. I think it was like such a big task for me as like a young, like I was so overwhelmed by other things and stuff like that. And it was like also too, it was Friday nights from 10 to 12. That was a terrible time to run a radio show. It was really tough. So I ended up getting a co-host later down the road, and that ended up kind of like towards the end of it, I wasn't really as much of a part of it as I wish I would have been, but I was pursuing other opportunities I don't regret. So I started falling into those things, and then that kind of lended its hand into me being more well known in the sense that I could play like a lot of the co-ops and stuff like that. I think
what do you mean by that?
So some of the like co-ops were like they're like frats without the like Greek overlay on them. They were like, big houses full of
parties.
Well, they were like big houses full of it was actually like a structured thing at MSU. Like you could like apply to like a co-op or whatever like that, and like you're a part of it, and you pay like rent and you pay like dues with it or whatever that like go into like just like having a chef or whatever, or sometimes that would come cook food. But it wasn't, there was no Greekness to it. You weren't like a part of anything. You didn't have to like be there for Sunday meetings. You didn't have to like, there was no like title to it. It was just like you were a part of like X house.
Right.
Or like this house. And it was like, to put it like super simply, like it was just like full of like more, it was more like creatives and stuff. It was more like artists and producers and like musicians and painters and this and that. Some of them would have like these like art like shows, and they'd have like all these artists come sell their paintings and then DJs downstairs. But Orion was the big one that I always like played at, and Orion, they had some of like you ever heard of Desmond Jones? They're a band. They kind of like were a band that like got big in like the Lansing area, and they like do a lot of tours and stuff. They ended up getting like in the jam band side of things. They're like well known in the Midwest, but they would host like bands upstairs and DJs downstairs, and then sometimes DJs on both or whatever.
Cool.
And dude, it was like those house parties would be insane, like just flooded with people. And I remember like the first time like I got to play there, they were like, "Oh, we'll let you play like downstairs in the basement on the same night as like Desmond Jones, so it'll be like a big night."
Yeah.
And a group of friends of mine like brought we brought our like some big sound system down in the basement, like subs and speakers and like all this shit, and we just went nuts in the basement to the point of where like Desmond Jones actually like ended up, and I'm like, to my knowledge, like because I heard a lot of like I think they were a little salty to me that night. I don't think they cared for me that much.
Because
like,
you took their audience.
Shout out
or
Desmond
what?
Jones. I think you're awesome, and I hope you don't hate me. But no, yeah, I think like we kind of like overwhelmed the house and
Really?
started sucking people downstairs. Yeah, not to
This
toot
is
our
your
horns
first
or
time
something.
performing there?
At that house, yeah, and it just, dude, we went till like 5 a.m.
Oh my
and we
God.
stopped because the speakers started like shorting out because of all the humidity in the air
Oh,
from like
wow.
just
So
like
many people?
sweat. There's just like so many people and sweat.
Holy
Like I was
shit.
like shirtless, just dripping like some sweat. Like it was like some underground.
Again, if we
like-
had the vlog.
Oh my god, bro! And that's when I really wish I had the vlog going, because that was just like, I still have some videos from it, from a buddy who was just like trying to kind of like shoot stuff and like didn't really like make anything out of it. He just like wanted to like
The
shoot some,
camera
like,
guy of the group, right?
yeah, and like I have some of those old videos, and they're just like in their little ratchet. They're for sure, but like, you know, it was just, we went hard. Like it was awesome. Like, and those like, I cherish those like sweaty underground moments way more than like a festival stage.
Right.
Like as cool as you can get content out of a festival stage, and as dope as it is, and I love them. I'm not even taking anything away from them, but you just connect with people like
So
on that.
raw and real.
It's
And
raw.
it kind of made you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it made
Yeah.
you, those experiences help shape who you are today.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing in Texas.
Right.
You know, it was just the sweaty, like crude house parties where you're like figuring shit out on the fly. Like there's like power failures, equipment failures. Who gives a shit?
And it just
Yeah.
was what it was. There was probably like no real stress. You're like, I'm just gonna go DJ and
And
have,
have
a good time
fun.
with my
Yeah.
boys at MSU.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
You
like,
know?
let's go hard.
As a DJ, how often, or especially in these house party settings, do you have like the people like always trying to come up and get behind the turn, like all like, because like it always happens. You always see it. So like, how annoying is that?
It's definitely annoying. I mean, the memes and stuff that you'll see of people like trying to request stuff is like a very true thing. Yeah, I have gotten plenty of like annoying requests, plenty of, you know, people that are like, "Oh, I DJ, like let me like come up here and like, you know, mess everything up for you." Like, you know.
no.
Yeah,
Right,
like you get them, but like you learn how to handle them and laugh at them and like
So
kind of
what's
just
the
troll
best way to
troll
get a
them.
song played?
Oh, that's
Like from what perspective? Like
you're,
if you're,
you're at, you know, a party or an event, you know, and you want the DJ to play a song for you. What is the best way? How would you tell people? You know, what's the best way to
Pay
get your
me?
song played?
get the hottest girl to go up there and
Okay.
tell. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's probably accurate.
No, that's even a bad way to put it, because sometimes like even they're the most obnoxious ones. I don't know, but
Let me put the headphones on.
right. Like I don't really ever mind it when someone like very chill, like if someone just like comes up and is like chill about it, and like
not just
shows
being
me,
drunk. Like, bro, play.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Stuart
Oh,
Freebird. If you
oh.
don't play Freebird right now, I swear to God.
Yeah, like don't give me any stipulations about how mad you're gonna be for one. But if you just like write it on your phone, on a note on your phone, and just like show me,
Oh,
like if
that's
it
cool.
fits,
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Yeah.
Because like totally, like if it
If you
fits,
don't
Don't come
chill
up
about
and
it.
don't come up and
Yeah.
request a Cotton Eye Joe when
oh, but
you and your-
you'd be surprised. I mean, I'll get like I'm playing like. I'll be at, you know, it'll be the late night hours of Orion or whatever, and I'm playing like dubstep or like I'm
Right.
playing some like gritty shit, you
Yeah.
know, and someone comes in and wants me to play like a very top 40 rap pop like a pop song.
It doesn't even fit the structure of
I'm like,
the list. The set.
Let's just think of like, can you like think about how that would play out? Like,
No.
if I played that, people would be like, "What? Like, what just happened?" Like, no.
I feel like being a DJ, like I think the best example is, I forget what movie it is, but they're like selling cars, and Daryl is the DJ in it, and he's on top of like the thing, and somebody asks for a request, and he plays the exact opposite song. He goes, "Oh yeah, I'll play that." Plays something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Well, and that'll be me all the time. Like I'm like, no matter what, I'm always be like, yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
something
like,
completely different.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know, because if you say like if you try to deny, like say like no or like this and that, like they're only gonna get mad. Like,
right.
And I've had like my time. Like I've learned that lesson. Like I had this one, actually it was at Orion too, like later down the road. But I was like playing on the upstairs one day, and we had this like really cool setup, really cool, really sketchy setup going. Like this kid who has these like he had these like very like stage oriented light setup where he had like two big stands with a bar across and like all that stuff, but they had such high ceilings. Like the layout of it was so awkward where we actually brought those bars down and then we stacked like two tables on top of each other, and then we had the decks on one table and we're standing on the other on the bottom one, so it was like
super unstable,
super sketchy, and like no fuck boys allowed, like no angry people allowed back in the back, like so we're up there DJing all night, and we're up at the ceiling, and everyone's down below, and the bars are in the middle, and blah blah blah. And like I get this kid like next to me on the left, and he's just asking me to play like really hood rap music and stuff I wasn't even opposed to playing. Like I really liked it, but I was like not the time. Like I'm throwing down like mainstay trap bangers, and everyone's like headbanging.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying? I'm loving that.
You're
right
pleasing
now.
the crowd.
Like, yeah, I'm pleasing the crowd. I'm pleasing myself. I love that kind of shit. Like fuck it. And so I was like, like in that scenario, no matter what you suggest, I don't really give a shit because I'm like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of reception to like what I'm playing, and at that point, people are letting me play what I want to play. Like people are letting me like do what I want to do and like show them the new stuff or stuff they don't hear about, and that's rare. So when that happens, I'm like, yo, we're one. Like I'm gonna tell you a story right now, and I'm not gonna care about what you come and tell me. Like no offense, but he was really like pushy about it and stuff, and like could tell I was just like saying yeah whatever, like and like wasn't gonna play, and he was lingering. So my boy Jake was with me, and is really good at like reading that kind of stuff, like and was doing a good job at trying to get the kid to fuck off basically, and like kind of like he was being really nice, but he was trying to interject and be like, hey, like move back a little bit, like, he needs room, right? Like he was being a homie, and the kid left for a while, and it was fine. And then he comes back, and he's like to my other side, but down below, and he's being really aggressive, like yelling at me basically to like play the song and blah blah blah, and like and things led to like one thing led to another, and this kid was like not chill about anything and started like kind of like pushing and shoving and shit, and then he stepped on some cables and killed like half the sound to a point where like we didn't know what was going on. Like we plugged it back in, like we couldn't figure out what was going on. Like he was actually like breaking stuff, and like
on purpose.
Well, not on purpose, but like was so drunk and like so fucked up that it was like 3 a.m. and he didn't know what he was doing, and he was being really aggressive. He's super tall guy, like way bigger than me. But he's like really far down, and I just like came over there and was just like, dude, you already fucked up half the party, like get the fuck out of here. Like I started getting a little bit aggressive with him, which was like a mistake, hindsight, right? And then without even like thinking, his long arm was coming up to punch at me, and then my leg was kicking at him, and like he got a hit on me, and my foot got a hit on his face, and then lo and behold, like he's knocking stuff over, and
really,
and so like totally like was not my fault, like type scenario, like the bigger guys that like lived at the house, like when a house party like that, they're very organized, and they have like a couple dudes that are gonna like be there to break stuff up when it happens or whatever, and they saw that I was like using all my patience within me, and I did not throw the first punch. I only like kicked back at when I was getting punched, you know what I'm saying? Like anyway, so they grabbed the guy off and like took him to the corner and kicked him out, and blah, blah, but the party was over at that point. Like it was like so much commotion, but so you get that extreme level of things too, like I've definitely got those stories where it's
from
just,
the hot babes requesting songs to the tall guys.
literally
on cables. Yeah.
And like in an unorganized but organized scenario like that, shit's bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
People are drinking too much,
yeah.
and this. It was fine. Like even if I met the kid to this day, I probably wouldn't even recognize him, but I wouldn't even like. I'd be fine.
Nothing
with him. Like
against
you.
nothing against you, dude. Like whatever.
So were those Orion house parties? Were those paid gigs, or you just
No.
did it?
No, just did it for the passion of it, and like really, I mean,
It was like an honor to be able to DJ.
yeah, like
DJ
that,
there.
dude. That amount of exposure is insane.
I was gonna
Like
say,
on a
it's probably
college
good for your
campus, like
personal brand, yeah.
they're like like no lie, probably 1,000 people go in and out.
So
of the
how
house
do
at
people
night.
know that that's you DJing? Do you say Vadr like in your set list? Do
Do you have a sound bit?
flag
DJ
or
Vadr.
something? Or, like, how do people like the next day know that they listen to you DJ?
And that was something I picked up on like from like doing them in the first place and being like, well, did I get it? Like, yeah, I thought of that. It was like, how do people like know me or whatever and
That
stuff?
was like so much fun. Like, who was that DJing? How do people know?
Yeah, so I started getting that was kind of like what taught me to kind of get better about like in the beginning of DJing, I was really intimidated about a microphone. I was really intimidated to like talk during. That's like any DJ doesn't. You're not comfortable with that from the get go. Like if you are, like I'm super impressed and like hang on to that, But I was definitely super nervous to even talk and like. So those scenarios and knowing I needed to like put my name out there kind of got me more comfortable with learning how and what is tasteful to like get on the mic and like say who I am
Just plug
or
yourself?
like plug myself. And then like I ended up one day like getting this guy ended up gifting me like this big vinyl like dope Vadr banner type thing that
Gotcha.
was like a big durable vinyl one. And I put that up when I can. So like after kind of the Orion days, like in my like junior, senior year, I had this like this one house on Hagedorn there, and we started throwing like a lot of house parties at my house. So like I'd have the flag up and everything like that.
People would
Like,
know more.
People would
'cause they
know.
knew they were going.
Yeah, and then at that point, people kind of like knew like we're going to like Vadr's place, or at least we're gonna see a Vadr set or whatever. And that house party, like that house got like out of control. Like, dude, me and Zach one time, like, so me and Zach put through the first one there, and it was like after like a Life in Color, which is like this big festival that would go down there. Yeah. So like I played one of those, and I told all the DJs, like all the local DJs and that were opening and stuff, like, hey, we're gonna like throw down a show at my house after. And all the DJs pulled through. We had the CDJs. We had back to back. Like it was like we had 4 DJs just going back to back to back to back. It was awesome, but it was like, I mean, the show ends at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and we like got back to the house. Like obviously no one's there. We left a little bit early to set up. We're like, this is a crapshoot. Like we don't know if anyone's even gonna come. Dude, it went from 0 to 100 so
Banger.
fast. It was insane. Like yeah, it was just a banger, and it was awesome.
Dang.
Like actually like. Oh, yeah, it'd be funny. So, like, I don't know how deep you guys have gone on my Instagram, but Zach's, like, first music edit was that house party.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
so-
to go find
Yeah,
it.
if you dive way back, you'll find some of that gold.
Okay.
And it's like, and it's cool. And me and Zach talk about it here and there too. It's just like cool to like see both of our progression.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
From
Right.
him filming like concert stuff, and because he was already like he was shooting like lifestyle portraits, and
Right.
like was definitely like branding himself at the time, and so was I. But it was back. Not even that long ago. We call that back in the day, like
Right.
because our content was crude at the time, but it was like, it's cool to look back on it, and it's interesting, and it had its own vibe. But yeah, that video was that house party that I'm talking about, and we had like 4 or 5 of those before the last one. I ended up getting a big ticket for, and we just didn't. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, we got a big
Noise or what?
Yeah, big noise one. I was the only like old enough one to accept the ticket, so I got
man.
slammed. And
Is this
there's a
your
lot of
senior
underage
year?
people. Yeah,
Fourth year?
no, that was junior year.
You had
Yeah,
this
that was junior year, and then like senior year, I pretty much lived by myself at that point. Like I moved into an apartment in Lansing that was just like a 1-bedroom or whatever and stuff. And I kind of finished out my senior year there.
So you had the Vadr house junior year.
The
through
Vadr
parties.
house.
Yeah.
Did you have
Oh, you
other-
mean the Death Star? If you didn't call the Vadr House the Death Star, like there's a massive problem.
Did you have other DJs come and like perform there too at your place when you had parties, or what?
Yeah,
Or was it just you?
Yeah, I've had multiple DJs like there before and stuff like that. Like Life in Color thing was a big thing because all the DJs came from there.
That's cool.
And I had other like DJ buddies that would just like come and play there, and it got to the point where I'd like I wanted to like host as much as I wanted to DJ, so I
Yeah.
had some of them like play the like first
So
half.
like you went from like the guy being invited on the houseboat, being super stoked about that, to now you have your own house,
Yeah.
throwing parties, and you're like, oh, dude, you can come DJ here, and we can come have a big
Exactly,
time.
given-
That's super cool to
that
see
is-
that.
that is
kind of,
very
like,
cool.
Circle of life.
Yeah, and it let me like host other people. Yeah, exactly. Like bring another DJ in and be like, yo, you can DJ half, and I'll DJ the
And
other
he's
half.
super
And
stoked that he gets his DJ
Yep.
at Vadr's house.
yeah, Yeah, exactly. So we definitely had a few of those, and they were like really fun, and yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll always miss those days because like no pay gig's ever gonna like live up to that energy.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just
in
like
the moment, good time.
yeah, I really cherish those times and stuff like that. Even like nowadays when I can just DJ at like the A-Fold studio for like some of my close friends, like those are the times where everyone gives you no boundaries, no limits. Like you can do whatever you want, play whatever you want, and that's the dream for like any producer, DJ, like whatever. Like you want to be able to play whatever the fuck you want. Like, and in those scenarios, that's the past. Like, you know. So
there's no pressure. You're just there performing for your friends.
And I think that's like when that's like my I think that's like the new, not the new goal I want to say, but like that's the game, is to be able to like brand myself, build a brand around knowing that I'm gonna play like this and like you letting me play it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's always that hump to get over and stuff like that, and that's why I've also like turned down, through networks. I've definitely been able or could have been doing more bar gigs. I've done some wedding stuff, and I choose not to. Like, there's a lot of like money I pass up on in just being a quote unquote DJ that I just choose not to, because I really like have this like passion to pursue like my brand, like what I want to do.
That's good. It keeps you. It reminds you what's truly important, and like the version of performing that really fulfills you, and not losing sight of that. It's easy to, not that it's selling out, but get away from what you truly love.
Yeah, and I also too hate using the word sell out, because everyone's got their own path, and like some people do just like want to be able to DJ and make a good paycheck, and
you
got to
pay the bills.
Exactly, you have to always pay the bills. So there's like compromises you've always got to make and stuff like that. But I think that I've found more value in compromising, like making money in other areas that aren't DJing, in order to compromise like losing money on DJing, but pursuing like what I really want to like play or do, or just enjoy it and stuff, and not lose sight of like what brought me into it. And yeah, so I mean, even that goes back into the sense that like saying that like I even tend to like making hip hop more than I like making EDM.
So is Vadr known as more of an EDM DJ?
I think in the public's eye, yeah, for sure, and even in my eye, yeah. I mean, I definitely like I'm an EDM kid. Like I grew up like. So like go back again, like back in Texas, growing up in high school, like that was the beginning of when EDM was really slam in the United States, and you got like Rusko and Caspa and like and Flux Pavilion and like all these like bass like and like progress like Tiesto and Zed and like all the like, dude, I've had many nights freaking crying to a freaking Zed, Tiesto or whatever set, like progressive house stuff. And then like like EDC Dallas was like one of the first like EDCs that was a thing, and like I remember the roots of like all those kinds of festivals, like before EDC Vegas was like a freaking thing, and so I definitely have my roots in like EDM, and definitely don't shy away from that or want people to not think of me as an EDM DJ or anything like that. I think it's more so because I love to DJ EDM stuff, but like the current state of things are kind of like, I hate to say they're like losing me, but like dubstep's going to an area where I'm not super passionate about. Like I'm not really super into like the rhythm side of things and things like that. And if you know EDM, you'll know what I mean like when I say like rhythm. Not that I hate it or anything. I just like it's not my thing really. But I'm also seeing how big hip hop is starting to influence EDM, and that's cool because like some of my first like big people that I really liked was like Flosstradamus and like people like that, like these Chicago guys that were like before they were like a big act. Like I remember seeing like Flosstradamus play at this nightclub called Lizard Lounge, probably like a 600 cap venue, and like Dylan Francis was opening for them. He was like nothing. Like Dylan Francis wasn't even known as shit. Yeah, and like so and then he was like back in like Moombahton like twerk reggae days. You know what I mean? And like that was Dylan Francis. Like so it's like. My roots are very set in like when these guys were extremely hip hop, and like trap is brand new. Like trap EDM is like not like trap EDM was like when I was in Texas, and I'm so thankful I was there in Texas at that time because those guys came to Texas so much because Texas was so hip hop but Texas was also blowing up on an EDM perspective because we had dope nightclubs. So that fuse was like just awesome. Like I loved trap music. Like producers like Hoochie. Like I really look up to someone like Hoochie and Stooky Sound. Those two are like some of my favorite producers, and like my first show that I got to like as be like an opener DJ was Sticky Sound, and I got to like, dude. And
when was this?
So this was either like the end of sophomore, beginning of junior year kind of time. So about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that. Cause yeah, the whole like 2 year kind of like. I kind of like count the 2 year anniversary of like Vadr-ish of the Sticky Sound show, and I got that like Facebook like 2 years ago today thing, like
the memory,
the memory book,
yeah.
And I actually posted about it, and the promoter that put me on it was actually like made a comment and was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know it was like your first show."
Oh wow!
And that was kind of cool to see that that people didn't realize that was my first show.
Gig?
Knowing him, he was he threw a lot. He was like the big organizer behind like Life.
The promoter, you knew?
Yeah, Cameron Ennis, like he was like a big like he was a big guy behind like getting all the local guys on like Life in Color, and like he was kind of like the dude to know. Like if you wanted to get on like EDM acts at the time in like not only Lansing but kind of like the little Michigan area. So he gave me a lot of my first opportunities, and that Sticky Sound show was at the Stash at the intersection in Grand Rapids. So that was kind of my first introduction, A, into Grand Rapids, and B, into like playing shows. And I sold a lot of tickets for it and got a good time slot. And I got to like actually like chill with Sticky Sound. It's like two London guys, and like get drunk with them in the green room. And I was like, I mean, dude, it was like
surreal.
I did a good job in not fanboying out, but bro, it was so surreal. It was so like I grew up like just fucking loving these guys from the UK. Like I didn't think I'd ever even meet them.
It's your first gig.
Yeah, it's my first gig, and like I think that just like really lit a fire under my ass. Like it really like was like show me how attainable these things were. If you really,
this can happen.
Yeah, if you really fucking want it, if you're really putting yourself out there and you're really speaking it into existence, and you're really like, just working at it. And it I don't know, that moment, that night will like I'll never lose sight of that one, because it was like, and I also too have that on SoundCloud. That set.
Do you?
Really? Yeah.
Right.
And it was
check that one out, guys.
It's funny because you can see like I was like a funk, like I liked the funk stuff, and then that set's like all like twerk, like 100 BPM, like it's very, and I was like thinking about opening for them, so I didn't want to go too trap on them and stuff like that, and like push their buttons, but I loved that set. And it was like the very beginning of like Vadr opening for shows and stuff like that. But in general, that's all to say that like Hoochie and Sticky Sound are definitely, if you look them up, definitely from production level, what inspires me. They're all like trap beats that are a little bit like over embellished into like a dance track that you could like just vibe to without like vocals and stuff.
That's sweet.
The best way to put it.
So you're doing this, like that was your first gig, and then you're doing like the houseboat and house parties and stuff. Are you getting more gigs while you're in college and doing shows, or what?
Yeah, so...
Or you're not focusing on that as much?
No, I was, for sure. I always seem to be having myself overwhelmed by needing to sell tickets to this show or that show or this.
So it was a regular thing.
Yeah, because I played like Life in Color 2 times and like 2 years in a row, and then I played Commencement Festival when we brought R.L. Grime.
Oh wow.
So like I've been really like blessed with a lot of opportunities to open for a lot of people. Like my opened for list is pretty big, like as far as like R.L. Grime, Steve Aoki, a lot of like big dubstep artists.
You've opened
like,
for Steve Aoki?
Yeah.
Really?
That was one of the Life in Colors, yeah, and like Vic Mensa was on that one. Opened for like Nightmare. I've opened for like
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's like open
lineup.
Yeah, I've opened for like I'm just definitely like very lucky to have been able, and I just think that like I think I saw like how much you really gotta like network and like go to every show and talk to everybody and put yourself out there. You cannot just be, I mean, okay, I don't want to say you cannot just be like a bedroom producer, because you can happen, but your chances are way less likely. Like, you gotta like just okay, so this kind of brings us back full circle to the van thing. It's like you gotta be there. You know what I mean? Like there's. Okay, so nowadays, like we used to be in a day where like like resources were super scarce. Resources are super saturated now, and like you really need to like meet people in person, establish like a relationship, and like get people to like fall in love with you, and like get people to like really see your passion and like this and that. It's you gotta like start flipping the tables and stuff, and it's not just, you can't just like, you're gonna online, you're gonna to put it this way, like you can message 1,000 promoters and get like 20 that hit you back or whatever and give you an opportunity. But if I met 1,000 promoters in person, the number would be exponentially
I'd argue over 50%.
Higher. Oh,
at least
right there with you.
In the barrier to entry is almost non-existent nowadays. Like, if you have a cell phone, you can do a podcast. You have a cell phone, you could appear as a damn good photographer on Instagram. Like, you're right. It is like non-existent when it comes to the saturated. You know, it's just super saturated.
Well, a lot of photographers get frustrated with that too. It's that like, oh, like I really want to go tour with this artist and this and that. It's like, dude, like Zach is super like, you know, talented in his own respects and stuff. So, but like me and him were just talking about this recently. It's like, let's say it just blew up, whatever. Like, blew up, and I can play whatever I want. I'm not going to go out there and get the most poppin', insane, crazy, ridiculous videographer who like you know, whoever just, you know, records for Tiesto and the Chainsmokers, like, just
you take
because
Zach.
I take Zach.
Yeah.
Because my boy. Like, we have chemistry. Like, we connect well. I can go on a road trip with him for weeks, and
you guys can stay in his van. Well, and for the record, Zach is Zach Hagee, who is previously on our podcast. Yeah. So just to clarify, but yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Good clarification. But yeah, no, exactly. I can like live in a van with him for weeks and go on, and we're not gonna get annoyed at each other. Like, we'll sit here and play Twitch not Twitch.
Stream it. Maybe we'll stream it.
Maybe stream
Mario Kart.
But we'll play Mario Kart on his Switch.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's like, it's that kind of thing. It's like I value that exponentially more than I care about how, like, okay, you can make the nastiest edit. Like, you're gonna make a nastier edit for me because you know me and know and like,
care about it.
Moments,
and
you know.
Well, it comes back to like you can message 1,000 people on Instagram, comment on their videos or whatever, but it's having that organic, real relationship in person that so many people lack just because they try and do it all through the internet.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
It's having that real connection with somebody. It's like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like what has been like a big, strong realization, like strong point realization for me throughout like starting Vadr up and stuff like that. Is just that I understood the value of not only making good stuff and making good mixes, but you really gotta like lay down personal connections and like really, you know, also too and just realizing like the business side of everything. Like, don't be stubborn to dumb stuff. Like, you're gonna have to sell tickets to get on an X. It's not selling out. It's a like entertainment industry is a business. It's not all this passion. Like, shows don't exist because of passion. Like, they do. The artists make them happen, but it's
a lot
also,
of stuff has to happen to make that.
There's a lot of background. The money has to, it still has to get paid for. Like, the venue's got to make $1 at the end of the day. The sound guy's got to get paid. Like, the promoter's got to get paid for making the show happen and pulling all the things together. So don't be stubborn to it. Like, but also find a balance, you know. And so like I think realizing those things are also really important too, because then you don't feel like you're. Yeah, like I've seen a lot of people get like unwilling to like sell tickets or push their boundaries in X and Y and things that where they don't really enjoy it fully, but not realize that at the end of the day, like if you're gonna make this a career and stuff, you may not enjoy every single facet of it. I don't enjoy sending emails every day, but if I don't send any emails, I'm not. It's part of the process. Yeah, like I hate emails. Like, it's the most anxiety ever, but you have to do it. Yeah, exactly. Like, you got to go through and connect with people, and you got to like get out there and talk with people. And so that's all to say that with the van, it's like I have so many hip hop artists and like things like that I aspire to work with and stuff, but I'm not gonna get to them by just like hitting their DMs and be like, hey, let's make a beat.
Really
let's
connect with them.
They could get a million free beats like out of their ass. They don't give a shit. Like, but they've got this producer that made their whole album because that was their boy. And like I'm going to see like Young Pinch tonight, right? And he's got this producer named Maddox. I mean, Maddox, me and him could probably make the same beat, right? But like, he's a pretty good producer, but yeah, but like I like his shit. But you get the point. Like, we can make the same beat. Like, it's not overcomplicated. I know exactly what his process is. I know what program he uses. Blah 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 blah. But that's Young Pinch's boy, and and you listen to it in his raps. They're out in the shed, like in his backyard, like making beats, cooking up stuff, like letting the juices flow. You know. You're just drinking some beers and making music, and they make good stuff, and that's because of the chemistry. And you know, me and Zach were roommates for a while and stuff, and like I so much of my content on Instagram is made from him, but it's not that we like busted ass to make it. We just have chemistry. Like
Exactly.
I think that like we just can like together make moments happen without even like really realizing it. And that just like
It's a cool
just
relationship.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a cool
for sure.
relationship, and I like to use it as an example because it's just like it's a great example. It's just a great example. Like, you know what
It's
I mean?
real.
Like,
It's real life.
yeah, it's real life, and
Yep.
that's how things really work
Yep.
and stuff. And I just also know that I will one day find that artist that I really connect with,
Yeah,
and I
for
will
sure.
see a lot in him, and he'll see a lot in me, and we'll make great stuff together. And I know that that's gonna happen by doing stuff like this.
Exactly.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
right.
It's what it
So
comes
go
down
out and
to,
live
you
life,
know?
be genuine, and opportunity will present itself.
Experience as
Just
many people.
Recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Should we take a quick break real quick? Maybe get a beer refill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
And
Let's
I
do
got-
it.
All right, and we're back. We have coffee, beer, etc. Now the van smells like beer, which is a good. Or not
Beer and
coffee
coffee.
is what I. Now the van smells like coffee is the remark we made. That's a nice encapsulating smell. So.
I love the smell of coffee.
Yes.
I'm gonna be like Peter McKinnon in this van all the time, where he always leaves that like little thing of coffee, that little what is it called? Those
The
like
pour-over thing?
Yeah, that pour over, but it's the one that everyone friggin' has, and he talks about it all the time.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
he always like leaves it full of beans like in his studio
Just so it
behind
smells
him.
good.
Yeah, so it just smells
Yeah.
like coffee
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
The best air freshener.
yeah.
And I don't know if you know, but we have our own blended coffee. Skroove.
Oh,
does.
no
It's
way?
called Dawn Patrol Coffee by
Oh,
Skroove.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
plug that.
there you
I'm
go.
gonna plug that on my
I love it.
stories and stuff. No,
Love
that's
that.
that's gonna be awesome because that's like one thing I can't wait is to like build all my like kitchen and all that stuff,
Right.
so I can start like actually like cooking food in here and like actually like making coffee and like all that kind of stuff instead of Starbucks. So
How far out do you think that'll be done?
yeah. So I was mentioning earlier that I'm gonna leave probably like next week again to go back down to Dallas to play a festival, and then from there I'll end up going to Phoenix. Gonna kind of take my time, but go out to Phoenix, and then I'm gonna be playing a show at the end of April in Phoenix, and connecting with a lot of artists I've met out there and such. And then after that, so like all of my dad's tools and everything that we used to build the van and stuff are still out in California in like a trailer. And so the company like kind of long story, but the company out there like needs some stuff out in Knoxville, Tennessee, blah blah blah. So after Phoenix, I'll go over to LA, which is only like 5 hours away. Grab meet up with my dad with the trailer full of stuff. We'll drive the van and he'll drive the trailer all the way over to like Knoxville. We'll drop that off, and then we'll go up to Michigan with all the tools and stuff, and probably finish the rest of the build out there. Because up north at my parents' house, he's got like a big workshop up there and stuff, and the rest of his tools he has like a CNC machine and stuff like that.
Oh dang.
Yeah, so my parents like on the side have like this they don't really like do much with the business anymore, but they had this like cutting board business growing up, and my dad my dad's always been like a woodworker. Like every like house we lived in, like the garage got turned into a giant workshop and like totally got taken over. And so when they moved up north for kind of like good, like that's like their last house they'll live in, he put like a pole barn and like a 2-story pole barn and has like his office upstairs and his big workshop downstairs. Yeah, so like it's really good for him and stuff, and like it's his outlet, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so I kind of grew up like going to like craft shows with them and stuff like that, and selling like cutting boards and all this stuff, and then like kind of leveling up to like bigger craft shows and doing like 2 big ones a year and stuff. And then that kind of led into them doing most of their business on like online and eBay and stuff. But basically like they would do high end cutting boards and game boards.
Okay.
So we'd order like exotic woods and this and that, and like actually like we started like a rolling tray kind of like business, and it started from me just like wanting. My parents are like very like chill about the whole like weed thing and stuff like that, but so that, you know, so we made this rolling tray for me. It was like this big rolling tray, and it had like places to put all your bowls, and like places to roll up, place for your papers, place for like everything. It was really like kind of dope, and like all my friends that I've ever like pun intended all my friends that I would show this would be like, dude, where'd you get that? And I'm like, I made this. and so like I actually like went through being able to be like anywhere I want for like whenever. Like that's actually one of the things I kind of want to pick back up and try to like kind of turn it into a little side business, side company.
Really?
And brand it. Now that I know like so much about like branding and making a page and like
Right.
starting up a company, like I really actually want to pursue that because I think it's a really great idea, and we had some cool concepts. And because my dad specializes in making like exotic cutting cutting boards that are like, made on a CNC machine. Like we can like graphically make exactly what we want and then like cut it out. And then my mom is like the whole like sanding and staining side of things and stuff, and she's fucking amazing at it. And anyways, like, so side rant, I want to like start a rolling tray company.
That's sweet.
But
mom and dad are like helping make them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
Family
It's like
business.
family business. So anyway, so he's got a big workshop up there, and like we can, like I said earlier, the hard part was really like starting this whole thing, and so like the foundation is thought of, and like how we are building everything in here is like figured out.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's kind of like more so the fun part. Like now it's like really, we get to build like the cabinetry and the the little quirks of everything, and like I just all the little like creature comforts that will be more enjoyable to make. So hopefully like basically about a month and a half after all that stuff kind of like dies down, we'll be back in northern Michigan with all the tools and be able to make it. So I'm really hoping like June.
Be like where you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, because I'd like to. I'm going to Electric Force again this year with
Okay.
all the homies and stuff, and we decided to do Good Life this year, and I bought like an RV pass because now I'm past 18 feet long, so I gotta buy the
that's
RV
the
pass.
standard.
Yep, I probably could have finagled it, and they probably wouldn't have been like, okay, 4 feet,
But how
like,
long is
whatever. 22 feet long.
How tall is it in here?
It's funny because I really need to measure how tall I am with the solar panels now because of like
For like the measured
bridge-
like
yeah,
overpass things.
'cause
Yeah,
now
yeah.
like the biggest, and everyone laughs, but like the biggest frustration I've had is when it's like past 2 a.m.
No
and I'll be
drive-throughs?
no drive-throughs.
Yeah.
The shittiest thing ever. Like you want that
That's
like
the
late night
worst.
without psych. So actually, McDonald's is not psych. That's actually the only place I can go.
Can
after
you?
because now they do like the curbside pickup thing, so you can go.
Oh,
Yeah.
travel
Yeah.
Because
hat.
we can't even do drive-throughs, and we're a lot shorter than you.
Yeah.
we can't do drive.
Because it's like 9 feet.
And our
like,
van's smaller,
everywhere.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 9 feet everywhere. I'm like way
That's
past 9
smart,
feet.
The
Yeah.
curbside
Well,
pickup.
me and Zach just figured that was like props to Zach on that one.
That's
Shout
24
out to
hours then?
him. I mean, when they're not being pussies about it, like we got up north and like got back to Michigan, and they totally like they closed this one Michigan place, like totally like closed it when they weren't supposed to because they didn't want to go outside because it was too cold. Like I could totally tell why they're just being pansies.
I've never
but
done that. We've never done that before.
No.
Yeah,
No,
shout out to
use
Zach.
that.
So
He
how,
had
how
the.
far, like, do you order like 10 minutes before you get to McDonald's, or how do you do that?
I mean, we didn't have the foresight to be that smart about it. We pretty much like one night
Sat
got
in the parking lot and waited.
Yeah, we pretty much one night got there and was like, shit, like this is the thing. Like we cannot go through the drive-throughs at like anything, And then Zach like remembered like while you're sitting there, because they got those little like numbers,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
slot 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like for curbside pickup. He was like, oh shit, dude, like you can download the app and then just order it through there and then select what slot you're in. I was like, oh my god, game changer, dude.
Hack.
That's
Yeah,
money. That's
seriously.
money.
So yeah,
McDonald's,
if you're a van lifer or a bus driver or whatever,
get a big rig.
yeah, if you got a big rig, curbside pickup for McDonald's. That's your late
like
night.
that.
That's
I
your
like that
late
hack.
night key. Tips from
So
Vadr.
you graduate college, and you want to buy a van. Get us sort of like in the end of college right now. Get us to like where we are now.
Yeah. So coming up to the end of college.
Was there like pressure from your parents or just yourself? Like, what am I gonna do when I'm done graduated, or what?
Honestly, like it was not really like anything on the parent side. I mean, we talked about how I kind of got like obsessed with van life people on YouTube and the idea of things and what it would bring me to be able to do this. Like we've definitely gone into enough of like that. So it was a lot of accumulation.
When did you decide? After I graduate, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, so that's it was such a hard like pinpoint on that app, because like it was a lot of like me telling my girlfriend on the side like, I think I really want to do this, like it'd be really sick, and then like starting to tell my friends and then like this and that, and I know, and then people know. People get a lot of big ideas, you know what I mean? It like saying that was kind of like one of those like I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, people
or,
talk,
like,
right?
Yeah, people talk kind of thing. That's one of those, and I knew that, so I didn't try to hype it up too much. Not only from the standpoint of like if I don't do it or whatever and being embarrassed about it, but more so that like there's really no point in talking it up because no one's really gonna give you any praise for it because it's just like
Right.
do you-
It's
do
the
you do it?
process,
Like,
yeah.
what's the point? Like So I remember like kind of like talking about it a lot and like bringing it up that I think I like kind of like I really want to like do this, but then I wasn't really sharing kind of like this, like the whole studio layout that I had in my head. Like I wasn't going that deep into it yet because I knew that was stuff that was in my brain that wouldn't make any sense to anybody or whatever. And then I kind of, I remember the day I brought it up to my dad though. And I brought it up to my dad like pretty like tentatively and stuff. And like it was like one of those things that it wasn't that I was scared he was gonna freak out or something like that. It was like more so like how do I articulate this in a way that makes sense and then you're gonna like kind of support me on it or whatever. And so I just did it like super slowly and like maturely. Like I didn't just be like I'm gonna build a van, I'm gonna do this, oh my god, like you know, like I kind of like broke it down as I like laid
this
out.
is my plan. Like you had a plan behind it.
Yeah, it wasn't even. I'd love to even say I had a plan at that point, but it wasn't that I had like a plan. I had enough of a plan to make it make sense, like maturely, if that makes sense. So I more so like laid out like why I thought it was a good idea, more than anything. Because I didn't have the like ultimate plan there and stuff, but then like my dad, I mean he's a big like camper and like this and that and like you know like I was saying my dad's like coming up on his 70s, so like he's lived through the like he had a van at one point, like he like pretty much had it, like he had a like he was a ski bum and like he had a van at one point that he pretty much lived out of.
Really?
Like he had
so
a
you could
VW
relate
van.
to the desire to
And I knew that I didn't really know like we've obviously like through this have talked more about those old stories and stuff. But I didn't know. So I knew somewhat, but not to the extent even now of how he could relate to it. But when I brought it up, like he didn't really have much objection to it. Like kind of was like, like okay. Like he didn't really like say too much. But then like actually, I remember he called me back like a few days later or whatever, and clearly him and my mom had talked about it or whatever, and then he was just like literally said. Was like, you have a lot of like really crazy, like really stupid ideas. Like you tell me a lot of shit that I'm like, okay, but this isn't one of them. Like this is actually kind of plausible. Like,
really?
Yeah, because he's one with YouTube too, and he's seen like he stumbled across the like van life people.
He knows
and,
it's like it's possible, and it's been done.
And they're like not unhip to like through me being Vadr, they've like gotten like hip to what social media can do for you, and I've explained to them a lot about how I enable some of the things that I do. So there's a lot that like led up to them receiving that well. So there wasn't really that much like pressure on like my parent. Like there definitely was pressure for them to be like, you know, have your plan B, and you know you need to have something that pays the bills, and like the mature thought processes that need to go with it. So like nothing to where I was really like, oh, you don't support me, or like, you don't see that I'm gonna like do good with this. Like they definitely like see that, and once again through like without having the whole like Vadr thing the past few years, like I feel like maybe the scenario would have been a lot different. I think they've seen that I like have the hustle to be able to make a lot of these things happen.
The work ethic.
Yeah,
right?
the work ethic. The work ethic is there. They know I know how to network. They know I know how to make things happen, and they also know I'm realistic and like. So all those little factors kind of came into them taking it actually pretty receptively. And then I also, too, I'm just like an over freaking researcher. Like I'm not going to bring that up to them without having an answer to everything. And I did. Like, you know, and their questions weren't even the like, how do you shower? Like, how do you, because they knew that. They've like road tripped a million times, and they know like how, like it's ridiculous. You can stop at a Pilot rest stop and get a shower.
Yeah,
like, you don't even, it's not even that hard. Like that's actually like been like the easiest thing ever. Like I was telling you guys, my biggest thing's been my internet. Like, so it's like, those things weren't even a question. Now to most people, that's their first question.
Right.
But to them, just like out of like randomness, those weren't like their biggest questions or anything like that. It was more so the money side of things and like how it's going to benefit like my DJing and stuff like that, because they didn't really see that whole side of things. But then I explained that, and then it made more sense and stuff. So
well, that's cool that you have their support.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's like a lot easier for you too. You know, that they support that. It's very cool.
Definitely, and like just like them having them not opposing me, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that like they didn't even have to like support me financially in any aspect of it for that to be like a lot. Like just the like mental like support, like that's like all I need.
Right.
That was good.
For
It's like
sure.
they understand what I'm doing.
They believe in it. Yeah.
Like I didn't ask for anything else, and like that right there is a ton. You know.
Yeah. For sure.
Because if you got a big opposition in something like this, it's gonna be like a little bit mentally harder.
Yeah.
It's a little
wouldn't stop
Yeah.
me from doing it.
Yep.
But it'd be like harder, you know.
But it's better peace of mind, kind of.
Yeah, more peace of mind. So that was good, and there wasn't a lot of pressure on that and stuff. But really, it was more so like pressure on myself to do this. So like, whenever I saw like college coming to an end and stuff, I think like what I saw was just that like what I do. I don't want to like what I do is like what a million people are trying to do and what a million people are like at the end of the day I was just like an average kid trying to be a DJ, music producer, blah 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 blah. Like college was like a safety blanket and I knew it. Like college was like a blanket of like resources and people. It clicked to me one day when I was on my last semester of like promoting a show. I was at my last semester in the fall. What show was I playing? I don't know. I was playing some show, and I was just running around in dorm rooms, like putting flyers under doors, like I always did and stuff, and like till you get kicked out, and then you can move to the next dorm or whatever and stuff. And I was like, wow, like I'm so lucky to have this as a resource. Like, where else can you have this concentrated of an area to in 2 nights I can hit thousands of students
Of your target demographic.
of your exact target demographic.
Right. It's 18 to 24-year-old college. Like it's perfect.
Couldn't pick a better pool.
Exactly.
Of people.
Right.
And you know that your ratio of putting those flyers in the door is well worth your time. And then on top of that, you got your social media going. But like I think once again, like I was smart enough to realize that these safety blankets don't last forever. Use them, utilize them. You know, utilize the promoters you can meet in college and all. But don't take them for granted.
But if you want to be bigger than Lansing, you have to be bigger than Lansing and do bigger things than that. Exactly. 100%.
And I saw that coming. And like, I just think that people, I think you're smart to try to like bring those pressures on yourself. Like,
well, it's getting out of your comfort zone, like making
Yeah.
yourself uncomfortable.
And people are stubborn nowadays. Like people are like stubborn to be like, they think that like they keep doing the same thing over and over is going to work for forever.
Oh my gosh.
It's never going to work.
You have to see what works, react, what doesn't, put it away, and like just keep pivoting.
And evolve. But anyways, and so I saw it coming, and you know, but I think my mind. So with that, my mind was just kind of like working on like what's next? How do I keep this going? What's gonna make me different? How am I gonna get exposure? Like, you know, a lot of people like, you know, you got these like, you know, crazy stunt meme guys on the Instagram, and they're gonna do the craziest thing that borderline gets them arrested to get that exposure. Like,
right.
And
how do you separate yourself?
Yeah, how do you separate yourself? I kind of sometimes joke and like make a metaphor to the fact that like this is my face tattoo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my big ass sign of commitment. That's like I'm putting a lot on the table. It could go 2 ways, but I'm in it. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's exactly how we think about it. Because everybody and their brother starts a clothing brand. Like, everybody and their brother starts a band or is a musician. How do you separate yourself from everyone else to be, like, how do you brand yourself? That's why we do the daily videos. That's why we started a vlog. That's why we have a podcast. Because how many brands of clothes brand themselves in that aspect? You know? And it started off as a brand of clothes for us, but really it's just a brand. And we just happen to sell clothes.
Yeah.
We're just a brand, and we build it through the content and the clothes that we have, right?
Yep.
So, like, that's exactly, like, all right, how am I going to make Vadr different from X, Y, and Z DJ and producer, you know?
Exactly.
I'm going to do what makes me happy, create a mobile
unit.
studio.
Mobile unit.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was this pool of those thoughts, a pool of the previous thoughts we talked about in the beginning of this, and them colliding, like, straight up. I mean, it was like, so like the anxiety of knowing, like, okay, how do I reshake things up? How do I like, you know, make myself different and separate myself among, like, oh shit, like, this is something no one's been doing, you know, this will make me, like, it just kind of was like this, like, perfect timing of, like, thoughts and everything like that, and then seeing this opportunity with the whole van life thing and the fact I've never seen a mobile hip-hop EDM producer just do it and just
I love it.
run around the country like a crazy man and just like make shit with people, whether it be like, you know, I'm about to buy a sewing machine, like I just want to make like I just want to make clothes, I want to make music, I want to make like content, I just want to make stuff, like
cool.
I don't want to be the best at anything, I just want to make a bunch of shit, like, you know, I don't know, it's just like I'm always the king of putting too much on my plate, but I love it.
Because you just want to experience as much shit as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like overwhelmed
So
by
you
it.
always just want to keep doing new shit, and sometimes you can overwhelm yourself, but it's kind of the fun of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just, like always trying new stuff.
Exactly. Like I like staying busy, and sometimes it'll push myself because everyone has those like runs of being super lazy. Like, and that like if I keep a lot on my plate, I'm never gonna have those times. And the van life itself, just in general, has kept me more and more like.
For sure, dude.
I'm in a car. It's a comfortable area, as we can see around us. Like but I'm not gonna stay in it all day. Like I'm gonna get out and breathe the damn fresh air. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
So it's like sometimes if I'm in a house or an apartment, maybe I wouldn't be breathing the fresh air every day. Like I might just like suck myself into my bedroom all day, and that's fine. But I don't get lost in that hole of things lately and stuff, and yeah,
I'm just in this small area, so like, what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna go out and explore.
Yep.
Do
I'm
things,
gonna make some stuff, and then like, drive somewhere cool and take a walk, or like I'm gonna, I don't know, drive somewhere new.
Yeah,
like,
experience whatever that area has to offer.
Spend 4 hours and be somewhere pretty far away.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I could spend 4 hours and be up to almost the UP. But so it's like that's a quarter of your working day. Like if you take into account like from the time you wake up to the time you crash at the end of the night, like it's a quarter of your day, third of your day. Like use that, be somewhere totally new and inspiring, and then spend the next 4 hours making dope shit.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's
dude.
it.
Like
That's
whether it be
100%. I love that.
sewing clothes in the middle of the woods, or making a beat in New York City. Like whatever. Like and that's the other thing that I find cool is I want to like actually like collab with like street performers and like
That'd be so
my
cool.
gosh,
that was like one of the original
would
thoughts
be
behind the whole thing.
Dope. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so like
that'd be sweet.
There's this like guy that in Texas like years ago, and it went pretty like viral around the country, so you might know this story, but there was like this guy that was like this homeless dude, and he had this sign that was saying he was the best broadcasting voice ever. Like,
Oh yeah.
I did hear about this.
Yeah, and someone who knew him came and recorded a video of him doing it, and he blew up, and he had like all these broadcasting gigs that wanted him, and this and that. I mean, the dude's probably just super successful now. I mean, far from homeless, you know what I mean? But it's like, what if you could be that for someone? You know
Seriously,
what I mean?
give them that medium
like
for sure.
That is so cool.
What a better way to give back, like, or just like, touch someone else's life,
Dude, that street performer, because there's so many talented people that are so good.
even I saw in South by, I was like, there's like a bunch of cool drummer people and this and that.
That'd be a dope little like series.
Yeah, like a
segment.
mini series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I not only want to sample the shit out of their music and use it, but I want to like figure out how to make a video of them.
That would be so cool.
And I want to get some like mixer that I can use that has like a longer cable on it, and just run it outside the van. Let it plug
Just
in and
pull up.
mic them up, and
That's so cool. There's a little YouTube video, I think it's called like Sound of Change or something, and this guy went around the world, like different homeless people, and played Stand By Me, and they all like played it, and he like looped it together, and he had it on video, and it's
very
super
cool.
oh, so he used like one song and then like
track
made this
and
giant
everything.
and
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
recorded it, and like there's a dude in like Louisiana, and he goes like Africa, and like has like these like village people in Africa, like with their local just like instruments and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's super cool.
Dude, that's a cool idea.
I love that, and it's got millions of views. But the street performer, I think that's a sweet idea.
Yeah.
A little mini segment. Or something.
Yeah, I obviously want to put a little bit more context to it, but like
It's a good, but it is a good concept for sure.
Yeah, just stuff like that is I feel like what this can bring. Little opportunities like that,
Dude,
to where
for
it's
sure.
like, you don't know what like would come of that. Like, I mean, you got these like Mashed and Kutcher guys. I don't know if you heard of them, but they're like this little like these two EDM guys who were really like started like getting really good at making like mashup remixes of like popular songs, this and that, etc., whatever. Because there's this whole like movement of like viral remix videos of like remixing Donald Trump, or remixing like a viral video, like remixing a viral video and sampling that into like a song.
Okay.
Right.
And but anyways, these guys would like do it. They're like just like trolls of the EDM world, and it was like, awesome. Anyways, they came out with like it was like Mashed and Kutcher. Yeah. Anyways, they came out with a couple segments where they would like literally collab with people on the streets. They like they'd like order pizza, and then make the pizza guy just play some melody on their MIDI controller. So they have a laptop and a MIDI controller, like, hey, play a melody, and then he'd play a melody, and
Really?
then they'd use that melody, and then they'd show them like remixing into a song. It'd be like a 30-second to minute long video. It's very like
That's sweet.
quick based video, but it would show them doing it. And then they went really viral off this one where they stopped this guy that was jogging, this runner, and the guy had pipes. They asked him to sing, and he like was a singer.
Really?
And the dude just all of a sudden he was like, wait, what? Like, was weirded out by it, but then just laid down
That
some
is
shit.
really sick.
And it was great because it was made for a great freaking video. And but that concept could be morphed into something else really cool, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, you said ask us about it on the podcast, the V.
Oh, yeah.
Vader. You said, I don't think you've ever talked about this before.
You know, I haven't. The whole, so yeah, Victoria is the name of the van.
Skroove exclusive here.
Skroove exclusive. Yeah, so I'm like really obsessed with V for Vendetta. It's like my favorite movie
That is a good movie.
ever. So
That is a great
yeah, so everything that I just like obsessed with just naming everything with a V. Like I really, and Vader kind of came organically. Like they had.
Were you thinking about that when you came up with Vader?
No,
just
not
fell
at all.
into that
It fell
realm.
in. It definitely fell into the realm and clicked after the fact that I did that. But so like, you know, I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm kind of like in the background starting up this little like media company that I want to start pushing. I'll leave the name undisclosed since I haven't. I don't want to spill too much or whatever. But
Fair enough.
It definitely has a V as the name, and the word comes from a speech of V in the movie V for Vendetta. It comes from like one of his. And so in the very beginning of the movie, he has this like speech where he's like everything is like vicariously. You know,
I need to rewatch that now.
Yeah,
It's
right.
been a while.
Such a good movie.
Dude, I've never watched that movie until like 6 months ago. It was the first time I
Really,
watched it.
it's
loved
like
it, yeah.
so much of what I believe in, like as a person. Like it you know, I'm not the most like religious type person and stuff, so a lot of like my beliefs just come from like theories and stuff like
Right.
that, and other things like that. Like I have a bunch of like Egyptian tattoos on my arm, and some of I kind of like really believe in a lot of like little aspects of their religion. And I just like to like feed off of like different ideas and metaphors.
Take different parts that you.
that speak to
Right,
me that
sure.
I really relate to and that I like believe in, you know, and that's just kind of my version. But the movie V for Vendetta, I just think that movie speaks volumes, especially like in our current state of like society or whatever,
Right.
you know, without getting crazy deep on here. But like, you know what I mean? And I watch it all the time just because I think it's, I don't know, it just speaks to me so much. And I think
Really?
that there's so many cool concepts and ideas in there that so many people need to like latch onto.
Take a
and stuff
deeper
like
look at,
that.
maybe.
Yeah. And I had a friend like growing up who actually Matt, we already like talked about him on here, and who showed me that movie when I was younger, and it always spoke to me and stuff. And I always go back to like that. I have some songs that I haven't released yet that I'm kind of thinking about releasing here soon. It's like a series of like 4 songs. And each one follows like the 4 like major speeches in the movie. So they all have samples from the speeches in it.
Oh, that's dope.
And they all kind of like, it's like 4. And I've kind of been just kind of like figuring out how to brand it and
Right.
put it out or
That'd be-
whatever.
that'd-
But
that's
I think it'd be
sweet.
really cool, yeah, because it was like kind of just that thought process of like wanting to follow along the 4 like it doesn't. I don't think there's like 4 like iconic moments in it, like. But that's how like there's 4 speeches within there that I remember
Right.
that stick to me.
Right.
And I yeah. Anyway, so
That's a cool concept.
so like the whole Victoria, like so in Victoria's name, I was thinking of that at the time.
Really?
Was that I kind of wanted to like stick with like everything having like a V at the beginning.
That's
of
cool.
everything. So
I
like
like
my
that.
media company will have a V name, and the word it comes from the speech and stuff. So that'll be like a fun
That's dope.
way to like
That
kind
is
of
cool.
launch that and kind of have like a meaning behind everything and stuff. Because the word itself has like a lot of cool meaning. And anyway, so maybe that's update 2 on the Skroove podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll
The
talk
call-
about that.
You know what we need actually? I think that in maybe 6 months or so, or you know, whatever time frame, we all sit down again and with Zach too. We do the 4
Yeah,
of
that'd be
us.
sick.
Like a
That'd be
group
super
show,
sick.
yeah.
That'd be a really fun podcast.
would
I think
be
that
fun.
ended up turning into like a 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, that'd be a great time. Yep.
No, that'd be super sick because I think we could both feed off a lot of conversations and with each other, and then I could talk more about that once it's come in progress. And in 6 months, we could do a new tour of
For sure.
everything, kind of like do a
And the
book.
updated
Yeah,
version.
phase 1 and phase 2.
Exactly.
So that'd be super sick. I think we
For
should
sure.
definitely.
We'll do it in the
definitely
middle
plan
of
on that.
nowhere. You'll drive your van out.
Yeah, we'll
meet
drive
up with
our
our van.
Oh my
Yeah.
And we'll just
God.
No,
maybe
the
we
Las
just-
Vegas desert, like the scene in Casino. Like he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna die or not, but
And we'll just like park each van like kind of right here, and we'll sit outside the vans, and we'll just sit right there.
Oh, that'd be perfect. We should do it like in the evening and have like a campfire going
my God.
and like.
Let's do it. Like
Oh, that'd be so
in
sick.
the future.
call it the campfire side chat because there's like fireside chat. So just like
Yeah.
piggyback
that would be so
Oh
cool.
my God,
That'd be
that's
very
that-
cool.
Now the podcast is gonna hold us accountable for this. this.
It has to. It's on record that we're gonna do it. That would be dope. That'd be very cool.
That'd be super sick. No, I'm already looking forward to it. It's gonna happen.
That's so cool.
But yeah, like we'll do it in the middle of nowhere and shit, and we'll do a little update on what me and Zach are doing and stuff, and do a retour and stuff like that. But yeah, no. So to recap that rant, I love V for Vendetta.
Excellent. Yeah, I need to
Favorite
rewatch
movie.
it. Movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it when I watched it. I couldn't believe it took me so long to peep it because I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
So political
Is it still on
and
Netflix?
like. I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dude,
That's how I've
Netflix has
watched it
been
so many
killing
times.
it. They've been putting so much
I
stuff.
know.
They finally really stepped their
It made me
game up.
sad when they took out Bob's Burgers, though.
that one, they
See,
took off another.
It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny. They took
We were
off.
upset when they took off It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
I know.
You're shattering my world a
I
little
have
bit.
this
I didn't know
theory
about that.
If they take The Office off, that there will be like a legitimate like revolution of the people. Well, they'll storm the gates of Netflix.
Yeah,
if,
what?
Like there's
They're
gonna
taking
that
a-
tipping point's coming. Like
They're
get
taking
ready.
away all the just chill and
like the fall asleep to /
Yeah.
background noise / rewatchable show.
For me, if they take away Friends, I'm gonna have to get
I'm
it.
watching that right now. So
I'll have to get a
started
new
watching
subscription to something if they take away. Friends is literally what I fall asleep to
Really?
every single night, like
Yeah, we all have
without
that
fail.
show.
With Friends.
We all have that show.
Do you like hook up your phone or your laptop and like stream off your TV or what?
That's been a difficult situation for right now, unfortunately, because the
bed?
No, the bed. no,
things
what's
got in the
under
way.
here? The converter, or basically that like can. I'm forgetting the proper name in this solar system setup. Whatever. What basically converts all the power? Because you have to have. God, the name of it is killing me right now. You wouldn't think I just installed like this insane solar system, and now I'm forgetting the
Not know the name.
The component that I'm like referring to is
Flux
literally like
capacitor.
half. Yeah, the flux capacitor. It's like half the cost of like the entire solar system, but it's basically like what takes the power off the batteries and amps it up to like feed 120 volt. All these normal house outlets. That switch on the little monitor over there, like you don't always want to have it on because it itself uses its own power. Like it draws power in order to be able to like take all that power and amp it up to 120 volts to run these house
falling
outlets.
asleep to a show is not ideal.
It's not that it's not ideal. This thing just isn't hooked up yet. So that's more what I'm going to is that like all of the 12 volt stuff is live. So I've got all my USB stuff. I've got my refrigerator going. My fan works. All my like lights run off 12 volts so that they're low power.
Good.
So when the van is done, the only thing that will run off of 120 volt power. So to the rest of the audience, if you don't know what that means, anything that's like your house outlet, like a house plug. The only things that will run off that are my TV, the 2 studio speakers, and then if you need to like charge anything.
Right.
So like my camera
Laptop,
batteries, laptop, those will be the only scenarios in which I turn on that like converter type thing that I'm forgetting the name of right now. That will be the only time I turn that on, is when I'm running those types of things. Other than that, it'll always be off, and the batteries will just be using powering 12 volt, which uses very, very minimal power. But anyway, so that's all to say that since those 120 volt outlets are not working, the TV does not work right now unless I'm plugged into like someone's house power.
Shore power.
Yeah, shore power, basically. So actually, like so next weekend, I'm going up to my parents' house just for the weekend. I gotta see my cats. I miss the shit out of my cats. Like real talk. I love my cats, and I wish I could have my cats in this van. That is like.
I mean, you could. Cats are pretty
I
self-sustaining.
could,
Yeah,
and there's
that's
people
true.
that do it, but for my lifestyle, just not gonna happen because they're not outdoor cats to begin with, and one of like Lucy, the little one, has herpes, and like which is like actually crazy sounding.
It's a
more.
podcast.
I know my cat has herpes. I'm like dropping bombs.
How the
on
hell does
here.
that happen?
It's actually like way more common than you would think. I was freaking out when I found out too, but it's actually more common than
even heard of that.
I know. But no, we found out because she's like wasn't growing like big. Like she's still a little cat for like being full grown.
Really?
But she had like all these like she had like a swollen eye like when we first got like after we got her, and then like all this stuff started happening, and then we ended up like taking her to the vet a million times and found out that she had like feline herpes, and at first I was freaking out. I mean, I thought she was gonna like not live a normal life. Like we need to think if she needs to like if she's gonna live like an okay life, or are we just doing her harm? Like I was like freaking out, but it was not something to freak out about, is what I found. Anyways, and so she takes like this lysine stuff every day, which like boosts her immune system, so that she doesn't have like a herpes outbreak or whatever. But it only is like a feline version. You can't get it. You can't pass to like humans. It's not like real herpes. It's not like don't touch my cat. Like
make out with your cat or something.
Yeah, like it's not like oh my god, I'm gonna get herpes for life. Like she can only give it to my other cat Oberon, and Oberon definitely already has it.
Oberon,
Yeah,
nice.
So he goes by Obi, which everyone always thinks that like it's because like Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff, but it's because his name's Oberon.
Oh wow.
And her name's Lucy. And but no, anyways, so yeah, cat rant. But
Interesting segue.
Vader loves cats.
That's why Lucy isn't in here, because she's
They just like I don't know. They're better off like being at my parents' house up north and stuff, and like staring at the lake all day. And it's two of them. And I don't want two cats in here with all this black furniture. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
be a mess.
Yeah, it'd be a mess. And I just like there's always gonna be people in here and this and that. Like I know I'm a very
Still a lot to complicate it potentially.
Yeah, I mean that's why I have a dog that's why I don't have a dog. I have cats and
Right.
stuff. Is because of like just the life I live with travel and socialness and stuff. And I actually just like love cats anyway. So so anyways, but all to say, I need to go up north and visit my cats and see my parents and stuff. But I'm gonna go up there and install some of the LED accent lighting I was telling you about, because that's not installed right now.
The red?
The red stuff. Yeah.
Is that because Darth Vader? Is that why you went with red?
I've always like loved red as an accent color, but yes, it's because also the Darth Vader thing. I think it's always
Sith Lord.
Branding.
Well, you got to see Tyler's lightsaber he's got.
I have the legitimate
like the coup de grace one.
Yeah, like it's the glass.
You bought it from Disney, didn't you?
Yeah, I got it from Disney years ago, and
Damn, it's like the glass guy.
Oh yeah,
everything.
for sure. And like you hit the button to power it on, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not like like in Rogue One, like when he like powers it on, it just like comes out, like that's what it does, and it's so sweet.
Damn,
like, you move it, it's just like. Whoom,
you just told Vader you have a lightsaber. It's not on the podcast right now. Like, are you kidding me?
I did in your DJ set.
It's pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet lightsaber.
I had a Vader mask, and someone stole it.
Really?
Someone stole my
does
Vader
that?
mask on the river. Like,
On the
that's what I'm
riverboat?
saying. Like, yeah, who? Like, who?
And you couldn't even like wear it because people
What?
would be like, "Oh no, that's Vader's." Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
no,
mean?
straight up, I was like the weirdest thing that ever happened one time. The
It's a
security
fanboy.
actually like ran after them because they could tell someone was like running and like stole
Taking
something, obviously.
something.
But they're like, what did they steal?
Yeah.
And then after like the end of the night, we were like, the Vader mask is the only thing like gone.
It's a Vader mask.
But I, in general, like also like once again to get into a side rant, but like I have always stayed away from like using a Vader mask or this. Like, as much as Star Wars was an inspiration behind everything, I definitely like always try my best to kind of stay away from the whole, like,
you want to be bigger than that.
branded
yeah,
Star
I don't want to
Wars.
brand it too much. A, from like getting in trouble, and like B, I don't want it to get like over. I don't want it to be like the thought process, you know?
It's like, oh, Star Wars Vader.
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't want a bunch of Star Wars nerds following you around.
Yeah, well, I mean, that too, I guess.
We're Star Wars nerds, so you can say
So
that.
that's fine.
But I don't want it to be like the subject of
Right.
like my brand.
You want it to be bigger than
Yeah, I want to be. Well, I want to be bigger than that. And I want you to like not focus on it. Like I don't want.
Right.
I like the Vader name is all I want to like go into that. I don't want like my intro to my every set to be like like it'd be a little. It get a little corny after.
You don't
a
want it to
while.
cloud your judgment.
Yeah, whoa. With the Vader puns.
Yes.
But yeah, so the red has always been like an accent color because I feel like it makes sense for sure. But yeah, so there'll be like red like behind the flat screen up here.
Okay.
I was explaining to him earlier that the light board above us has like an inch gap on each side so that there can be like there's gonna be a strip all the way down each side, and then the vocal booth over there behind like the mic will have like a big red glow to it and stuff. So there'll be like a conglomerate like theme between everything and stuff like that. So that was like a thing with me and Cheyenne, the interior designer that I've been working with and stuff, like figuring out like the color scheme and like we weren't gonna do any wood, but I ended up like realizing I really wanted to do like a big wood table or something like that. A, from the ease of material, and B, I think it would be like the one like I want the modern look to everything, and I think that like that's. I like the difference in that. Like a lot of the van life people go for like the very like boho style, like like very wood and white and like, you know, tapestry type aesthetic, which is dope, but like it doesn't really scream me. I like modern, like I wanted to do like concrete look floor at first, but didn't realize how
more
like
a little Death Star-ish.
yeah, more Death Star-ish for sure.
If you will.
Modern Death Star, if you will. But yeah, so I wanted like the concrete, like black and white look type thing. The concrete floor didn't work out because I didn't realize how hard it was to get like faux concrete look. Like no one does that as a flooring.
Really?
It's like so hard to find, and everyone, if you think about it, everyone has their own like rendition of what like concrete looks to them. Like
I could just get some like cheap linoleum.
yeah, there's a lot of DIY versions of it, but I ended up just straying away from it, and I picked out this like really hard to describe pattern, but it's almost like it's like kind of like a dark black gray type thing. Anyways, but yeah, so like this whole theme has come along with like the, you know, like the dark gray painted furniture, black cushions, some of the studio foam as an accent, but then with like white walls. Like really, when you come down to it, the only white that's going to be showing at the end of it is going to be like this back wall and what is left of showing in the ceiling whenever you get the cabinets all the way up to here. So there really won't be much white showing at all. Be mostly like black, gray, like
one
wood
might
and
argue
white.
right now that it kind of looks. That's exactly.
Looks
what
like
I
a
was gonna
stormtrooper.
say.
Yeah, no, I love exactly. I love the whole like stormtrooper aesthetic. Their like body armor style. Like that was like, yeah, I don't know. That's weird. There's a lot of inspiration behind this van. I guess I didn't even realize it myself. But yeah. So I don't know. And
Interesting.
that's gonna be the general aesthetic of this van is like black, white, gray, and like some wood touches. So
Really?
I love it.
I love where you're going with it.
So we've covered a lot of stuff today. What is some advice that you would give to somebody who's getting ready to come out of college and wanting to pursue a career in something similar to what you're doing? What would you tell them?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because through this whole thing, I definitely like I'm not that kind of person that like if you go out and build like a van as a producer and you know such and such, like I'm not gonna be like, oh damn, you copped my idea, bro. Like I want to see that happen. Like I actually like want to see like people take inspiration from this and like do it their own way and be like, oh that's cool, I didn't think of that. Like or like do it their own way and stuff. So I don't know. I have the idea in my head, but it's like just like stick true to like what you envision in your head. Like I think a lot of what I learned through this whole process was that like there's a lot of people like not understanding like how I'm gonna make this happen or like telling me that it's not really gonna work like that or you can't really like build quite that, but like just don't be willing to like compromise, like build your vision, like don't like stick to it and build your vision and just do shit. I mean, seriously, like this whole podcast, like I think we nailed so many points that I wanted to bring up within this question. I think if you would have asked me that question at the beginning, this whole podcast would have like
Is a general
entailed-
answer.
Yeah, it's a general answer. Shitty, like a shitty way to answer that, but like it's the truth. I mean, it's just like, you know, there's so many lessons I've learned through this about how like important it is to like stick to my gut and stuff and like, you know, take that crazy idea and run with it because you're going to inspire others, but then you're going to inspire yourself. Like you're going to show yourself, you're going to prove to yourself so many things and like you're not even going to understand what's going to come out of it. Like I was, you know, building this, I'm like, oh, this could happen or like this could happen. And they're like happening plus some, you know what I mean? Like, and like you know, sponsorship things are possibilities and this and that. And it's like collaborative and money wise, like, and like, you know, opportunity wise, like there's so many things that can come out of like your ideas. It's insane. Like, I mean, even if like your idea, even if like you want to like invent a product or like, you know what I mean? Like just like anything, like do it. Like, I don't know. Like it's a general, like just do it. Like that's like such a general thing to say, but just run with your crazy fucking idea. Like,
Well, it's rare that people actually do.
yeah.
That's what's so special.
I think
Yeah.
they need to hear
It's
it
so
as often as
simple,
they
too.
can.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you know,
and that was a cool thing that I like would really appreciated to hear a couple times was that like there were some people that were at South by or like that I've met up with recently in the past couple weeks that I told this idea to, and their biggest thing to say was like, "That's cool, you actually did it. Like it's cool, you actually like a lot of people say they're gonna do some shit, you know, X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah, but like it's cool you're starting to do it. Like, you know, you made it your own and you did it, and that has stuck to me because I'm glad that people see that because I like." And like I said, I was hesitant about even bringing it up when I first like had the idea and stuff, because I knew personally, and I knew like other people know that, like, you know, there's a lot of talk in this world, and there's a lot of talk within people, and then, you know, it's like you really got to put your proof in your pudding, you know. And I think if you show people that, you'll be really surprised about what happens. You know, and like you just said, like, I think some people can't, like, I think in general, like, you can't say it enough. Like, if you got a crazy idea, like, run with it, and, like, don't be scared of it. Like, you're going to figure it out along the way. Like, if you really stick to it, like I was having a talk the other day and stuff with someone, and it was just like, I don't remember the specific conversation itself, but it was something along this or whatever. Like, what do you suggest to do if I want to, like, pursue this? And it was just like, just speak it into existence. Like, become obsessed with it. Like, that was the biggest thing about this van, is that I was obsessed. Like, ask my freaking girlfriend, yo. Like, oh my God. Like, all I was, like, when I was in the planning stage of this, like, YouTube, forums, Reddit, like, I was just obsessed with researching it and looking into it, and, oh, look at this person's van. Like, oh, look at this person's, like, YouTube that I found. Like, it's all I could talk about. Like, it consumed me, and that in itself led me know that I should do it, because I'm obsessed with it. And B, like, it pushed me to, like, bring it into existence and stuff, and, like, you know, combine that with being obsessed with, like, you know, being a producer and, like, wanting to, like, connect with other hip-hop artists or other EDM guys too. Like, I don't say that enough either, that I want to, like, still, like, I definitely still have a passion for, like, the whole EDM side of, like, production and trap stuff. And, like, there's a plethora of people out there that I still, like, talk to who are better producers than me, that I want to, like, learn from and connect from, and, like, you know, meet them if I haven't met them, and et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, those two obsessions combined made for a perfect storm of doing this. And I think everyone should kind of, like, look at those things within themselves and then just, like, chase stuff. And back to your college thing, is, like, I was afraid that people were going to be like, you know, you're a dumbass for not, like, you got this college degree, like, why are you not going to go get a secure job with, like, a guaranteed pay and, like, all this and that? And it's like, I'm still using college to, like, get that guaranteed pay. But it's not conventional, and it's not guaranteed. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, you took it right out of my damn mouth.
Are on a safer path than most.
Yeah, there's safer paths, like, but nothing is guaranteed. Dude, how many people do we know nowadays that get laid off from jobs?
Exactly.
Companies downsize. The company goes bankrupt. Like, even if you got that quote unquote guarantee, it's not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. And if you built it yourself, that's a little bit like,
you have the most control over that.
Yeah, like, why not have control over your bankruptcy or your, you know, layoffs or this? Like, that ain't gonna happen with, like, what I do, like, because
100%.
I'm not gonna lay off myself. Like, yeah, definitely. So that's my long version of the best advice ever.
I think it's a good answer, and I think that it's a common theme that we're hearing among our guests, which is good, because it's always people who are doing what they love.
Yeah, Zach definitely had a lot to say of the same
100%.
things, and all your other people too.
100%.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
We're about to lose camera one here on battery. We've covered a lot of good stuff. Is there anything else that...
I have a question.
Okay.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Episode 1 for sure.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
That's probably the most unconventional...
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah, just
You
like
know-
the episode 1, just straight up.
You know,
Because
so many people hate
or
that
what?
movie.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
I love
I love it.
I love Anakin. I love the pod race. I love that. Like, I think it's a lot of, like, nostalgia behind myself, because that, like, episode 1 came out when I was, like, a little kid.
Did you go to the theater and see it?
Yeah, and, like,
The Darth Maul fight's amazing.
yeah, I don't know. It's just so much of what I grew up on.
Yeah.
I think that's, like,
Yeah.
I think that's it, is that, like, I grew up on, like, episode 1, and then my parents were, like, conventional about the sense that, like, I needed to, like, see the old ones and, like, see the new ones.
So they
and,
were
like, get
big.
the
Like, your dad was a big
timeline.
Star Wars fan or what?
Yeah, we owned it all on DVD and, like, all that kind of good shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, they love Star Wars too, and, like, they introduced them to me right or whatever and stuff. And I don't know, that episode 1, like you know, I mentioned I, like, build a lot of Lego Star Wars stuff. Like, I had this big replica of all the pod racers.
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and they were, like, our dining room. I remember, like, specifically our dining room at one point in time was, like, my display case of, like, all the
Nice.
pod racers from it.
Bunta
and, like,
Classic?
Yeah.
Butiv or whatever
yeah,
it's
in, like, a
called.
scale in which, like, each one took me, like, over a month to make. But then I ended up just, like, breaking them all down and making new stuff out of all of them and stuff. And, you know, just, like,
Right,
saying, okay,
right.
well, I built them now. I'm going to destroy them and make new shit. But But yeah, episode 1, I think it was just like nostalgia, and I just love that one the most.
That's a good
Episode
answer.
1.
That's an unconventional answer.
Definitely.
From an unconventional human being.
Appreciate it.
Which is
that.
the path of most of the people we interview, so that's good. It means you're onto something
yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
Appreciate it, both of you.
Only dead fish go with the flow.
That's right.
100%.
That's right.
100%.
So, best way for people to connect with you: Instagram, SoundCloud.
I'd say Instagram. I'm the most communicative on there. Like,
Okay.
if you shoot me a DM on there, I'm gonna see it.
It's
and
like
reply to you.
VADR underscore.
Yeah, yeah.
DR_, and pay attention to this guy because he's putting out some really good stuff.
And he's doing something that we've never heard of before.
And I
think he's probably the only one doing it.
and he's only just getting started.
Yeah. Though it's phase 1 is undergo, but it's there's a lot to come for sure.
And you're on SoundCloud. All your mixes are on SoundCloud.
Yep. Yeah. If you search VADR on SoundCloud, you'll find it. Mixes, remixes, originals are on there, and more to come as well. Same with YouTube. Pretty sure it's just VADR.
And you have your vlog on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. VaderOfficial.com is like live, but more so soon to come as far as the design of it. If you want to that'll eventually be my conglomerate area for all
Mhm.
my content.
Okay.
So hopefully that's up and going here pretty soon. But yeah.
And we'll link all that stuff and
Yeah,
we post
for
this,
sure.
so you guys
Appreciate it.
Follow
follow
him, subscribe to him, show him some love.
And follow these guys because they're the shit.
Hey, thank you, my friend.
No,
Dude,
they're awesome.
I'm glad we did this.
Great conversation.
I'm glad-
Seriously.
hey,
Yeah, this was
Hey,
fun
this
as
is
hell.
this is a well over a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, and I feel like
love
it
that.
could go for another well over 2 hours.
I think
probably.
I think we're gonna have to have a follow-up episode. I just started follow-up episode with you and Zach.
I
and
think
we'll
that'd be
all-
a blast.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely gonna happen. The out in the middle of nowhere one with
Dude,
the
before
dual bands.
before 2018 ends, we'll
Yeah.
get something on the books.
No,
and,
100% this summer or something. Yeah, gotta happen.
And this,
Gotta happen.
Victoria will be transformed into a little kitchen area. We'll have a vocal
Yeah,
booth in here.
yeah,
We'll
hopefully
have the
it'll look
Darth
pretty different.
Vader lights. So
Yeah, we'll have cabinets and speakers hanging
Beautiful.
up to my head and accent lighting and yeah.
check out the 60 seconds in the vlog to actually see
Yes.
inside this because we're gonna make an edit about that. So
It'll be Skroove
it's
Tube
dope.
episode 8 or
Yeah.
9. It'll be episode 9.
Look for
Be
Vader.
epic no matter what.
It'll be epic. Yeah, look for Vader.
Dude, Vader. Well, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah,
We appreciate
it,
your
y'all.
time.
Hey.
Yeah, seriously, it's been awesome.
Dude, it was great.
Hell yeah.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All episodes of What's Your Skroove are available on iTunes. And if you like the show, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a comment. As always, there are free stickers on our website, www.skroovecode.com. We'll see you guys next time.